Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Toby. Welcome to the podcast. If you're a new listener, welcome. I'm going to give a big shout out to my day ones for the past 6 years, my subscribers, my listeners. I appreciate people who talk about this podcast, who share this podcast, who support this podcast, who write reviews for this podcast. Really appreciate all your support. I've been doing this for 6 years. I've been giving it away for free. So many people ask me why I don't film it, why I don't monetize on YouTube, why don't I charge people for it on Patreon? And their answer is because I don't want to. I love these conversations in my kitchen. I love the honesty. I love that people want to come back for 2 or 3 episodes, the reoccurring guests that I have all the time. I love it. No lights, no cameras. I myself do not like going on podcasts that are being filmed and have lights. I've done it a couple times. I'll probably never do it again. I don't feel like myself in those situations. So I want all my guests to be as comfortable as possible. I do have sponsors. The sponsors keep my shit going. They keep it alive. But I will never interrupt a conversation with an ad in the middle of it. People do that all the time, and I will never interrupt the flow of a conversation. So don't worry about that. But I do have amazing sponsors who I align myself with, the products that I use on a daily basis. I've turned down so much money for sponsors that want to be part of this podcast with companies I've never tried or didn't align with. I'm very picky about who I have on my sponsors and have on this podcast. That being said, check out the sponsors. Joe, cue up the music. Yo, Rockabilia, one of our sponsors. We have a limited skate deck designed by my brother Dan Smith and Captured Tattoo, celebrating 30 years of our first album, out right now for pre-order between now and May 18th at rockabilia.com. You can go to rockabilia.com right now and use my code OLOC and get 10% off. That's OLOC and get 10% off this limited skate deck. Check out my Instagram for photos of it. We'll be posting in the next couple weeks, so it's live between now and May 18th on rockabilia.com. Thank you, Rockabilia, for the support for this podcast. Thanks for all you do and put out there for all the bands and musicians and artists, all the amazing merchandise you guys make. Stoked to have you guys part of this podcast.
Welcome to the One Life, One Chance podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse. And today I'll be using my Kiwi accent instead of my Lower East Side accent. If you haven't guessed, this is not Toby Morse. I'm Dan Smith, and I have kind of hijacked the airwaves over here in his kitchen for a very special announcement. I've been friends with Toby for 25 years or so, and he's always shown me love and support with everything I've done, from my music, from taking bands on tour, having me create artwork for H2O, and countless other things over the years. I've filled in for them a couple times on bass and guitar, and made memories I could never forget. In exchange, I've tattooed him a million times and might have seen more of his body than Moon has at this point. And today he surprised me and asked me to do my very own read and announce something that I've been working on that will now be a new sponsor of this very podcast. I grew up playing and loving soccer or football, and if music and tattoos didn't get in the way, I'm literally positive I would have been a pro. A couple years ago, me and my friend Kevin decided to start Field Soccer Supply. Field is a soccer-based clothing brand, but mostly Field's an idea that was created from me being involved in bands and tattooing, etc. for over 25 years and experiencing the crucial, amazing, connecting element of what makes the world go round: community. We kind of exist to elevate the passion for the beautiful game and just connect music, culture, historic moments along the way. So if you've got kids in soccer or you play in an adult league with your mates, you know how it goes. Every season, new uniforms, new fees, new hassles, new everything. Soccer is the biggest sport in the world, but is literally the #1 sport in America that kids actually stop playing. And the main reason is simply just the cost of everything. All those old polyester jerseys end up in a landfill something too, and the love of the game kind of follows soon after. We're going to do something different. We take old uniforms headed for the dump and recycle them. We then use the recycled polyester to create uniforms that any team can love. They're fully customizable, team kits, fan wear, and also there's a lifestyle and essentials side to it that celebrate amazing moments in soccer and music history combined. You know, playing is the most important thing. We host monthly play-for-free pickup games here in Southern California, and we're just getting started. The goal is to eventually do this everywhere and help make playing doable for anyone. Check out The Field Dream on socials and thefieldDream.com for more info and join our team. Okay, I'm going to hand you back to the real host of the pod and get back to the regular programming. Thanks for listening.
Got to give a big shout out to Liquid Death. I've been in a band called H2O for 30 years. And my first real job with a company is a water brand. Go figure. Love you, Liquid Death. Love the people. Love the brand. Love the concept. Love what they give back. Love the community. Love what they do for the environment. You can go liquiddeath.com/OLLC and get free shipping on any of their merchandise they make. They have such incredible collabs. Also, if you want to hear the story of the CEO, my good friend Mike Cesario, on the podcast, you can go to episode 115, part 1. And then 2 years later, we dropped a part 2, which is episode 275 with the CEO, Mike Cesario. Just a man from Delaware with a dream, worked at a marketing company, and made this become a reality. Liquid Death is an incredible company, incredible water, incredible people. And I'm super, super honored to be part of them. They sponsor my life. They sponsor everything, my family. So go liquiddeath.com/OLLC and get free shipping on anything you want to buy on that site. If you want to get water, it's exclusively on Amazon.com. Murder your thirst, y'all. Let's go. Okay, hang on. Welcome to the One Life One Chance podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse. Today I have a very, very special guest in my kitchen, but I also have a very, very special co-host, my brother from another mother, Mr. Adam Lake.
Yeah, I'm the guy with the English accent.
Yes. Thank you for being here, Adam. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Really happy to be here.
Appreciate both
really
you guys being here.
Pleasure.
And then we have somebody today who's his first time ever doing a podcast. You never hear this guy talk. He's a legend. He's a friend for many, many years. Mr. Franklin Rhi, thank you for being here.
Hey, man, it's good to be here. And Adam, Toby, you guys, we go back a long time, man.
Long time,
I think you are actually my oldest friend.
Probably out here, right?
Yeah,
Toby,
absolutely. Oldest American
18,
friend. Yeah.
Adam since 22.
Yeah.
So you met me when I was 18?
I was 18, yeah.
What year was that, 92?
92, man, yeah.
Where did we meet at? Do you remember?
It was definitely to show, the way this all happened was because of Ezec, because he started dating Barbara Ann.
Okay.
And when he dated Barbara Ann, he started, meeting these people that were more above us. He started meeting people like Anthony, because I was,
yeah, coming out
brother.
killing time, yeah.
He met the Sick of It All guys. He met you. He met
Yep.
Freddie. So he started meeting more people that we were more like bands, we were more like fans of. We were like, this younger new generation where nobody knew who we were.
Yeah.
So he was a big bridge in connecting those two generations together. So that's how I met you and Freddie. And then, we met Vinny Stigma. It was like, wow, these are people that were like inaccessible to us at the time. For me, people.
How old are you in 92? Oh, wait,
I was 18.
That's right, 18.
So
wow.
people like that, saw them in magazines and, on the big record labels, Combat, In Effect Records. So it was a big thing for us, just to be able to meet, the people who influenced us like that, man.
Yeah. So you were born in Jackson Heights, Queens, right?
I was born in Jamaica, Queens.
Okay.
And then we went to Corona, Queens for a little bit. And then from there, we ended up in Forest Hills. And then when I became 11, that's when my mom, she took me and my brother and just left our father and, ended up in the hood, Jackson Heights. And that's where a lot of this all, opened up a can of worms.
Yeah.
Hardcore music, underground music. It was the best thing that ever happened to me was my mom taking, us away from our father and then putting me in this crazy situation because it opened me up.
And what kind of music were you listening to before you found hardcore?
All right, so this is around 82. The soundtracks to my life were Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, 82, 83, Shout at the Devil, Kiss, Lick It Up, Iron Maiden, Peace of Mind. That was it. That was all I kind of had, and I got into it. I was, buying candy at the candy stores as a 9-year-old, and you see these guys in the back, all the way in the back with the arcade games. Smoking cigarettes with those black shirts with the cool artwork. So I was very enamored. There was something very rebellious and different about what they were doing. It was cooler than what my friends my own age were doing.
Yeah.
So I was just very enamored. So I started, eyeing the names on the T-shirts and kind of getting into stuff like that. A lot of disappointment, like the Who and Foghat. I listened. I was like, this isn't hard. Like, what is this? I was so disappointed. But then I found Black Sabbath, and that's
a game changer.
Yes, and it changed, and just something music. I don't know, something flicked the switch.
Yeah, it's crazy, like how just the artwork back then was just so intriguing. As kids, you saw some like crazy skulls or whatever on covers of records, and you wanted to check it out, right?
Right.
Yeah, and you couldn't just like Google it.
Yeah.
You'd have to go to the record store, you'd have to ask somebody, and then you'd have to figure out what the next band was. And it was a real process of discovery back then.
And
it was exciting,
cool
though.
time.
And the whole thing back then, especially as a metalhead too, in the 80s, it was also about the album cover. You know, if one band had a better album cover, you might just gravitate towards buying it because you couldn't hear it first. So you kind of had to just make your pick.
Yeah. So you're 11 years old and you moved to that area, and it was like a kind of rougher area for you. How was that transition as a young kid? Like,
it was interesting. Well, the way I got into this underground stuff was, you know, so we moved in, and after we moved in, you know, it was like late in the day, and you know, I stood in front of the house and I just said, okay, here I am, new neighborhood, I don't know anybody, just 11 years old, you know, broken home kind of. I looked to the left and I looked to the right. I said, which way should I go? I picked right. So I walk all the way down. I'm living on 79th and 32nd Avenue at the time. So I walk all the way down to 37th Avenue, make a right. I see 78th Street. I see this fucking record store, man. And there's all these T-shirts in there, like Ozzy and heavy metal. It's a record store called Numbers, Records, and Tapes. I don't know if you've heard about this infamous place, but this place, this little Guyanese guy that started this record store, he doesn't know what he did for the face of music. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for that record store.
Wow.
Ezec wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for that record store. Hoya. This little record store had all these records, man, all the imports, man. Venom, Creator, Youth of Today. Instead, like I remember the first time I saw like an Instead album cover, it was like these three kids holding hands.
Bonds of Friendship record.
And I just listened to it the other day.
And I was like a metal kid. I was like, what the fuck is this? You know, and I look at the back and it's like these short-haired guys like jumping in the air. But there was just something about it that seemed like the vibe was kind of like what I was into also, the metal vibe. So it definitely caught my interest, but like seeing these like hardcore bands with like short hair, just looking like regular guys, like, you know what I mean? It threw me off. And these 2-minute songs with no solos threw me off, but there was some energy, you know, it definitely, you know, it caught my interest. And moving to Jackson Heights in 84 was also when I met, you know, a lot of the hardcore guys. You know, there was a crew there, 145 High School. They called themselves Occupied Territory.
Okay.
All right. This was Gier and you know, Gyro, all these old school like DMS, like pre-DMS guys, like they turned me on to a lot of hardcore too, Little Bad Brains and Raw Deal. You know, so you know, it started integrating like that. You know, there was a lot of schism with metalheads, but I was more like one of those underground metalhead guys. So they gave me some more respect because I wasn't wearing like a Poison shirt, you know, it was like a Celtic Frost shirt. So, you know, it was a little more respect, you know.
How was your mom about the type of music you were getting into?
Nah, man, she wasn't into, because conservative Korean family. So, you know, they punish me, you know, haircuts and stuff like that, you know.
So your mom was pretty strict.
Yeah, I mean, she understood, you know, there wasn't, she was raising me on her own, and she had to concentrate on just supporting, you know, me and my brother. So there was only so much control she had over me. So a lot of it was like, there was not much she can do.
Is your brother older or younger?
He was younger.
Okay.
You know, completely different, not into like metal or anything like that. He didn't get into, you know, any of this stuff.
And then was your mom strict about school and stuff, your grades, and how were you in school?
You know, that's, you know, I think I had potential to be a good student, but, you know, the biggest, you know, all I was focused on was music.
Yeah.
Man. Like, you know, the best thing my mom did for me, and the biggest mistake she did, was she got me a bass. I had this cheap bass when I was 13. It was like $100 bass. It wouldn't stay in tune. The action was you couldn't really play it, but it got my hands strong enough. But she finally bought me this bass. I begged her for a year. And I didn't realize that, you know, when you're a single mom working graveyard shift at Dunkin' Donuts, that, you know, you're not money sitting around. I begged her, and she bought me this bass, man. And you know, well, it was an exchange for doing good in school.
Yeah.
Well, I stopped going to school after that for a year.
Whoa.
Because what happened was, you know,
what grade was that you stopped going?
I was 88, so I was like 15. So
okay.
Sophomore, junior. So what happened was she bought me this bass. It was a Fernandez BXB bass. It was like an Explorer shape bass. And I had to get this bass because the bassist from Creator had it on the back of the fucking album, man. And it was a white bass, and he spray painted it black, and he scraped off the paint all chipped up, and I did the same thing, and I still got the bass.
Wow.
All right, so his bass is from 1987. And basically I stopped going to school, and I was like, you know, just practicing all day. And I went back to school because I got caught, and in music class, the teacher's like, hey, what's going on? How come you're not in school? And I'm like, well, this is not for me. I'm going to be a musician, blah, blah, blah. But she was cool with that, right? So she gave me this thing. She gave me this cassette and a poster from Rock School. Remember that TV show, Rock School?
Yeah.
Taught you music stuff. And it taught you how to tune your instrument. The cassette and the poster had all the notes. Now, I didn't know any of this stuff. So what do you think happened when I learned how to tune my instrument? It opened up a whole can of worms. So this is how the songs are written. This is how the songs are. So now I had even more reason to not go to school.
Yeah.
So my mom caught me, and
How'd she catch you?
Phone calls or letters. She caught something.
Yeah.
Some food was eaten, and so she took my bass away. And I was like really devastated, and I told my friend, hey man, what do I do? What should I do? Oh, my mom was going to do this to me too. This is what you do. You take your bass, hide it somewhere, and put some textbooks in your guitar case, lock it, and hand it to her. And she won't open it. And I did it, and it worked. So I still had the bass. But this taking off from a year from school helped me develop as a bass player, because this guy Hector that told me about that little trick with the case, he was a local guitar player from the neighborhood. He's a metalhead kid, and he was incredible. He kind of took me under his wing, and he was also became the lead guitar player for the first band I ever played for, Show of Force, with Dejan. So
shout out to Mike Dejan, man.
Yeah. So that's how I started playing.
What was like your first show you went to?
First show, I guess regular concert, Motley Crue, Madison Square Garden with Loudness opening up, and what was really cool about that was So I went to that show in 1985, right? That was with Steve Pettit, who later on went to play with Demise, EGH, 25 to Life. So he got into hardcore too. So him and I, it was crazy because we got arrested like 2 months before the show. We got caught tagging up on the subways. So, we get arrested, and we're at the station, and his father comes and my mom comes. And they're both cursing at us like, you sons of bitches, you pieces of shit. You guys aren't going to this concert. That ticket's getting ripped up. And we're looking at each other like almost crying, like, oh no. But they let us go. They knew how much it meant. And that concert really was a mind-blowing game changer.
Damn, that'd be a crazy show to see.
So graffiti's always been associated with hip hop, right? But there's a real like hardcore side to graffiti writing as well in New York City, right?
Well, at that time, and the stuff that Ezec talks about, all those old graffiti writers from Woodside, like he talks about all these people may not have heard of, like Maze and Lude. I was part of that whole world.
Okay.
He was in Woodside, with all those writers like Maze and Lude, and in my neighborhood it was like KYD and Chad and Uzi, and then in Corona it was like MQ and Scam and those guys. So it was like Woodside, Corona, Jackson Heights. So it was just a crazy time. It was a beautiful time in Jackson Heights because you can walk down the streets in like 84, 85. You can see a big graffiti piece on the wall, like those big, beautiful ones you see like on Beach Street.
Yeah.
And then like a skinhead across the street and a metalhead like me walking. So there was like that kind of energy was very strong in Jackson Heights at the time, like a lot of art and music.
It's amazing, yeah.
And that's how come people like me and Ezec just ended up getting into like Hoya. Like we're into like hip hop, graph, thrash, and hardcore. We just like it was just part of that mix.
There's like there's a whole scene there, right? Like you have this one part of Queens where you've got all these people that are into hardcore that go on to become kind of names in the scene, and they're also writing graffiti. There's sort of this weird mix of all these different cultures coming. It's very New York,
right?
Kind of a situation.
Like I lived up the block from IS 145, which is where like the DMS crew is a big name now, but it was a bunch of little hardcore skateboard guys that's hung out at that little staircases there, and just listening to hardcore, and these are the guys that
on a boombox.
Yeah, and these are the guys that one by one became big graffiti writers or got into bands and stuff like that.
Was all the different graffiti cliques you mentioned, different parts of Queens, that you guys all connected to each other? Was there beef with each other? You guys all respected each other?
No,
like Boy was in a different part, like.
Well, what I remember, and you hear Ezec talking about it a lot. Ezec was in Woodside, right? So, so he was on the Jackson Heights border. He was actually in Jackson Heights, but it was like the Woodside border, so he was kind of hanging out with both parts of the neighborhood. But I know Queens and Jackson Heights were always like had a cool thing going on, like allies or whatever.
Yeah, respect.
And then when Ezec always talks about that whole TA7 thing with the beef with Jackson Heights and Sunnyside, Corona was always with us and Woodside was always with us. Yeah, so there was some neighborhood beefs, but it wasn't like in the West Coast, like just West Coast is just something else, man.
I remember TMR was some crazy shit out there.
Yeah,
Queens.
yeah. I remember we played a show. You were probably there in some Bell Boulevard in Whitestone, and we played with Terminal Confusion, Crown of Thornz.
Oh yeah, because that band was part of the graffiti crew. Okay, yeah.
The TMR thing, yeah.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, there was some tension at that show, I remember.
So do you end up going back to school?
Yeah, I graduated high school.
Well, because you left and then you came back because your mom took your bass, right?
Yeah, I graduated 1 year late. I felt bad, man. I was going to drop out, and I saw the look on my mom's face. I was like, I can't do this to her, So
Good son, man.
Yeah, I graduated a year late, but that was fine. But if during high school, man, it was just like I didn't want to be there, man. My life was after 3 p.m., man, I'd hang out with you guys in the city.
Yeah.
Or rehearse, that was just,
Was that Show of Force? Was it high school bands?
Yeah. I was always hanging out with people like AJ and everyone, just, people a little older and stuff. Yeah, I actually joined Show of Force in math class in high school. Nice. I looked like Blackie from Voivod back then. I had long hair with half my head shaved,
Nice.
And I walk into math class and the skinhead dude's like looking at me and I'm looking at him, but it wasn't like aggressive. I know what he was thinking. He was thinking, is this guy into hardcore
yeah,
punk?
Be part of my tribe. Yeah.
And that's, he was looking for a bass player and he was just so gung-ho about his band. And I was like, you know what? Let me check it out. And I had just gotten into hardcore back then. This is 89. I just got into Chromags, AF, and the Revelation comp.
Nice.
So I just started finding out about this, new style of music. So that's when I joined Show of Force with Mike DeJean. Yeah.
Is he much older than us or no?
Mike DeJean?
Was a couple years older?
He's about
no?
2 maybe or something like that. Yeah, he's about the same age, give or take. But yeah. So that's how this history started, man.
And so when you graduate, are you working a job at that point? What is like your goals when you're a senior in high school? Like, what do you want to do? Just music?
I literally just fuck. Who cares?
But you weren't working or nothing?
Well, actually, if you want to go back to 1990, I was working a little bit, summer jobs. So Ezec, again, I'm mentioning him a lot because this guy was a real part of my history back then.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, I'm talking like hanging out every day with this guy, right?
Yeah.
So, Ezec always talks about working at Relativity.
Yeah.
So I was the first one to get the job there, and
Wow.
I hooked him up with that job.
Wow,
so I was working, and it was so easy back then because when I was working at Relativity, it was just like, hey, the boss, hey, Bennett, I got to go back to school, so I can't work here anymore. But my friend said he needs a job. Yeah, sure. Have him just come in. It was so easy like that.
Damn.
And then Ezec gave me his job at Seatown in the produce department. Like we swapped jobs.
Seatown grocery store?
Yeah, it was like nothing. I remember my first day, I showed up. I think it was supposed to start at 8:30. I showed up at like 10:30 because there was a show the night before.
I think Siv worked at Seatown or a grocery store back then.
He did also, right? Like, I've known Siv I met Siv in 1984 before all of this.
Where?
Jackson Heights in Jackson Heights, he was. Do you know Jimmy Perry?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. He's hanging out with Jimmy Perry. I knew Jimmy Perry since back in '89 too. Those guys, the little 11-year-old punk ass kid, me and Steve Pettit walking around smoking cigarettes at 11, long hair, and they would always fuck with us. You know what I mean? But I met Sid back in '84. He was a graffiti writer. I remember
he was.
He was. He always used to carry around a black book wearing black shell top Adidas. And I don't know
what did he write. Do you know?
Civ.
Wow, shout out Civ. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then Jimmy Perry used to write Just.
Just?
Yeah.
What did you write? What was your name?
Back then, in that era, I wrote Steel, Stell, and then I changed it to Hydro like years later.
Okay.
And there was one crazy incident in Jackson Heights. Actually, Civ, I don't like to tell the story, but it did happen. He was there. I almost killed this kid. So there was this fucking kid, man. And Sid pulled me off. He was one of the guys that pulled me in. I'm glad he did.
Sid saved your life, yeah.
There was this kid. I was with Steve Pettit, and we were walking just down 32nd Avenue. And I remember we walked, it was a corner of 81st Street. Some guy got hit by a car or whatever. There was all this commotion around. Everyone's, looking.
Yeah.
And I feel a set of eyes on me, and I look, and there's this big, huge guy, you know, probably 15. I'm like 11 at the time or whatever, like 15. You know, this guy's humongous to me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what the fuck you looking at? Blah blah blah, you know, and just starting with me, and I'm just like, okay, what are you talking about? I don't know you, and what are you looking at? I'm like, I'm not looking at you. He goes, you're looking at me, man. I'm going to kill you next time I see you. That's what he said. He looked at me and I said, I want to kill you. My heart started pounding, and I was just like, okay. I just stayed quiet. And then next time I saw him, I saw him playing basketball, and I was with Steve at the park, right? And I said, Steve, give me your knife. He goes, what are you talking about? I said, give me your knife. Give him the fucking knife. So it was a brass knuckle knife. I took it, and he was playing basketball. I jumped on the guy, and I grazed his neck. And I was like, you're going to fucking kill me? And I remember all these people like took me off of him. And Sid was one of them. So that's how long.
Sid was in the park that day?
Yeah, he was just like, what, are you crazy? And I'm glad that happened, because who knows what the hell would have happened. You know, I probably ended up in some juvenile. I was just an angry kid at the time.
I was going to ask you, like, where'd that come from? Like, yeah, were you aggressive kid?
I just, you know, it was just one of those, I think it was one of those neighborhoods too. It was probably a good idea. Maybe I did that so people don't mess with you either.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I was just like a little bit of an angry kid.
Did you get bullied in school or anything like that? Or
I think a little bit, but you know what sucked was you kind of learn to solve your problems with your fists, because it's what you learn at home as you grow up. You know. But that also stopped when I moved to Jackson Heights, because my mom took me away from my dad. Yeah, okay. So that behavior like started to stop and focus towards music. But I think that was probably good that I did that. Maybe, I don't know. You know,
probably angry too. Your parents separated and all that stuff. Like
yeah. And then I ended up taking it on music, which is cool. But there was a lot of drugs too at a young age back then, which was not
with you.
Yeah, at that age, it was not good. Hard drugs. Yeah.
Like what? Besides weed and alcohol.
Sheesh, man. I remember like. New Year's Eve of '86, also with Steve, man, we were snorting coke all freaking night.
How old are you then?
I was 12, man.
Holy shit!
Yeah, it sucked, man.
Did you know that?
And you also have to, yeah, I got, you know, it was cool that I got into that kind of stuff early, and then got into music. You know, also it kind of gave me a way out. But I think just by nature, I was always very curious and rebellious.
Yeah.
And then you know when the more you tell a kid don't do something. You know, maybe there was some of that in there, but yeah, you know, also Jackson Heights at that time, it was the cocaine capital of North America.
Wow.
You know, it was like, for example, like Roosevelt Avenue from 65th Street to like 94th Street. That's a long distance.
Yeah.
For both sides of the street, there was at least, so from 94th from 65th to 94th, we're talking like almost 30 blocks. Each side of the street. Not just one side. Each side of the street had at least one drug dealer and one brothel. That's how bad this neighborhood was. And then outside of Roosevelt Avenue, you had all those other places, houses and apartment complexes. It was saturated with gypsy cab drivers, all selling drugs, and it was a crazy neighborhood. So
all around you all the time.
Yeah, so it was easy to get kind of sucked into that. But there was a lot of art too, like I said, in that neighborhood. So it was not difficult for me to get sucked into that.
How long are you doing hard stuff for? To what age?
I think I kind of stopped. Well, I definitely stopped doing that coke after that night because because I felt like shit. And I remember as a traditional, you know, coming from a traditional Korean family, on New Year's Day you got to get up early and go see your grandparents and you know, wish them the New Year. It was very traditional, so I had to do that the next day, and I just like, you know,
you play the stick game with your grandparents, where you throw the sticks up and the sticks land?
I've heard about that. Yeah,
I had to do that. So my wife's Korean descent. We have to do that all the time.
But yeah. But yeah, I did come from a very traditional family, so it was very difficult for them to.
It's cool you could do coke once and not do it again. Most people can't.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you know, it came into it after a little bit, but I was also always the type of person that was able to quit anything cold turkey. You know, but
wow.
Yeah. So that was my, you know, kind of the upbringing in Jackson Heights. You know, it all led up to this, man. You know, which is cool.
It seems like that was sort of right at the end of New York at its most dangerous, right? Because you got New York as somewhere it's like you're gonna get like murdered if you walk into certain neighborhoods. And then sort of gentrification starts where they got this kind of blend of like artists and still a little bit of the sketchy stuff.
Right.
And then the sketchy stuff moves out and then it's artists. And then the real, like where it is now, where the real money comes in and there's really no more artists able to live there.
Like when you watch that movie, the Joker,
Yeah.
And that's old New York City. And when I see that movie, that old New York City, it hits close to home. Like I
man.
vividly remember those images, man.
Yeah.
That was my childhood, man.
It's grimy and gritty and dark.
Yeah, it was like that was my childhood, man.
Like Taxi Driver kind of style.
Yeah, I was also like, you remember back in the day, I was a latchkey kid. You remember that term?
Kids in the street, all hanging in the streets.
Yeah, and I was one of those kids in first, second grade. I would walk myself to school and eat my own dinner. My babysitters were different strokes and different strokes and fucking
wow,
facts of life and yeah.
What was your brother doing? Younger brother, was he hanging with you or was he involved in any of this stuff?
Well, there was a time my mom took my brother and left. And so it's just me and my father.
Left where? Early before you guys.
Yeah, she had to get get from my father. You know what I mean? So she took my brother. So I was left, but she didn't abandon me. And I never felt that sense of abandonment because she told me she kept me there because school and my friends. And that was the right thing to do. I never once felt like she abandoned me. You know what I mean? So that's why I had that latchkey kid thing going on too.
Is your father still with us?
No. So no, he passed, but I never had a relationship with him.
I was going to ask you, did you ever like talk to him or anything later on in life?
A little bit, but it was always it was never anything positive. Just that was definitely a father that never gave any support, and stuff like that. Like I would, it's all
pretty strict and just kind of cold.
Yeah, it was all water under the bridge. But I think my biggest question to him would have always been, why did you start a family? That probably would have been my. But it's not something that I. It's with you, but it doesn't carry it with me. Like when I'm in any of my relationships, that's not how I ever treated my girlfriends or you know what I mean? So I'm very different, And
your mom's still here?
Yeah, my mom's still here, and
awesome.
She's in New York. Yeah. So
she's doing good.
She's doing good. We just she's super, super, super Christian, so we bump heads a little bit on that, man. She's like always telling me like church. It's like it's not for me.
So we're trying to get you to go to church.
It's not for me, man.
Were you going to church as a kid though? Did you have to go as a kid?
A little bit. I tried it a little bit, but it wasn't for me. It was.
They had to do it to make your mom happy. To go to church, whatever.
A little bit, yeah. Grandparents, but yeah, it was. I wouldn't say I came from a super religious family, but my mom really got into church.
Yeah.
That's just her thing. I got into the Krishna choir.
I know.
Yeah.
What year did you graduate?
92.
92.
Yes, I graduated a year late, and then I went to FIT.
FIT,
yeah,
okay. In Manhattan.
Yeah, and I went to college to appease my mom. My whole modus operandi, it was music.
Yeah. But what were you studying at college? Like, what was your...
it was taken in FIT, it was fine arts. I was... worst case, I was thinking maybe I can get into like lettering for comics or something like that.
Yeah.
But man, that world has changed. And I was at the same time when I was in FIT, I was in Crown of Thornz and 108 at the same time.
Damn.
So it was really hard to keep up. I failed school miserably.
You did?
Because I was in school like 35 hours a week. Monday through Friday, I'm rehearsing with one of those two bands. And Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm gigging with one of those two bands. Who has time for homework? I mean, homeworks were like 5-hour sculpture pieces or paintings or stuff. You don't have time for that, man.
Crazy.
So were you a devotee at this point?
I was definitely into it. Yeah, I was definitely into it. And there was this one girl in my class. She would always wear hardcore shirts, and I remember she would wear like sick overall shirts, shelter shirts, and I was seeing. I was like, man, this thing's getting big. This is like 94, 93.
Oh yeah.
Hardcore's really it was really buzzing. I was like, dude, I'm in the right place, man. I'm playing with these bands. I'm and then I dropped out of school. It was that summer I did my first tour with 108, US tour.
That was before Crown of Thornz 108?
Crown of Thornz, no, I was in Crown of Thornz at the same time. So the way Crown of Thornz started was, it was end of 93. All my bands had disbanded. Shore Force, Discipline, Ocean Mercy.
Well, you were in Discipline, that's right.
Yeah, I was in Discipline too, yeah.
With Gus Straight Edge.
With Gus Straight Edge.
And Oceans of Mercy.
Yes, I took Ezec's place.
Okay.
Actually, the first Discipline show was with Ezec at CB's playing bass, and I did fill in a second guitar on that show just as a fill-in, and then Ezec left, and then they asked me to play bass. Shore Force was kind of disbanded at the time, so I was in Discipline for a minute. Yeah. But in 93, right before I joined 108, was Crown of Thornz. Like Ezec came over my pad. Back in those days, they don't, nobody calls you or texts you on coming over. They just call your name out the window, like, yo, I'm here.
House, yeah.
So it was one of those things. So Ezec's like, yo, I opened the door, let him in, and he's kind of all down, I'm like, yo, what's going on? something happened with Barbara Ann or something? He's like, nah. And I was like, what's going on? And he just shakes his head and he goes, man, herbs will be herbs. That's what he said. And he was talking about Frank. Remember Big Frank?
Yeah.
Fred Mesk and Harry, because he had a band with them. Those three.
Whoa.
It was called Third Eye. And he was singing for them. And
Before it became 25.
Yeah, and he was just said, yeah, herbs will be herbs, man. Those guys, just screw those guys. And I'm like, what happened? And he just kept saying, yes, fuck those guys. So I was like, so what happened? You're not in the band anymore? I was like, nah. So I was like, dude, let's start a band.
No way.
Right there. That was the
That's
beginning.
the beginning of Crown of Thorns?
That was the beginning. We just said, look, man, let's do this. Let's just do it as much as we can, as best as we can, man.
Who came up with the name of that band?
Ezec did.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So you wrote all those songs on the first EP, Train Yard Blues?
well, Mike wrote all those. So this is what happened. So
Great EP, by the way.
I know. That was a special EP. So the way that EP happened, that way Crown of Thorns happened was it was Jeer on drums, Davey Vance, remember him?
Yeah,
on guitar, and Fahim on guitar.
Wow.
And nothing got done, man. Everyone was just getting high. Nothing got done. And then me and Ezec was just like, after like 3 rehearsals, this ain't gonna work. We want to,
Yeah.
So I called Dejan. I just the whole reason why I'm playing shows and music was because of Dejan. He let me in his first band. So I was like, I think this is gonna do something. I got to get him in. So I called him, and he came by, and we jammed. And Davey, Vahim, they were just watching us jam, and they watched us jam and create Menthol Masquerade on the spot. Yeah. So that's how the whole Crown of Thorns started.
First song written?
Yes, and then Jeer didn't work out. So then we got Tony Costanos, Tony the Greek from Show of Force. He was the first drummer from Crown of Thorns. So we kind of got that lineup going, and then Jimmy Gestapo hooked us up with the show at the Grand Halloween in 1994 with Killing Time and 25 to Life, I believe. And like a month before the show, Tony backs out saying, "Oh, my girlfriend wants me to go to a costume party." Okay. So that was like at the end of his friendship with Mike. Mike like really held a grudge on him for that. So we needed a drummer really bad. So I got Dimmy.
Was he in Still Suit then? Or
No. So Dimmy, I met
great
Dimmy.
Drummer, dude.
I met Dimmy in 1997.
Okay.
That's how long ago I've known Dimmy for. So the way I met Dimmy was
You mean 87?
1987.
Okay.
The way I met Dimmy was I was going to 141 high school, long hair kid with patches over his jacket on the lunch line. And some lady goes, "Oh, you play music?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to, like puffing my chest. I'm going to be in a band one day kind of vibe." And she's like, "Yeah, my son plays drums too." I'm like, "Oh, all right, that's cool." And, just left it at that. Her son was fucking Dimmy.
That's incredible,
man. So
I
first jammed with Dimmy back in like 87 one time with some Vietnamese kid knew no English with a mullet, like he sucked. but that was one time I jammed with him, and I kind of knew him a little like that. And then that's how he ended up in Crown of Thorns, because I was I'd known him previous, and I knew his drumming ability.
His name came up recently on the podcast. Some newer generation hardcore bands on this pod, and they all mentioned Dimmy in their top 10 as a drummer. He never gets a lot of praise, Dimmy, as a drummer. He's a great drummer.
He's a very unique drummer.
Yeah.
And I actually, he tried out for Shelter, but I think he purposely botched it because I don't think it was for him. I called him. I was like, "Hey, we need a drummer. You want to try out?" He came. I think he just to say yes because we were friends.
Yeah.
But I can tell he didn't even prepare for it. Like he just, I knew he didn't want to do it. But in the back of my mind, I thanked him for at least doing it.
Yeah.
But he's an excellent drummer. Very unique.
Yeah.
Very unique.
That's sort of the trademark of Crown of Thorns, right? Everybody sort of had a very interesting style.
Yes.
Wasn't straight ahead, power chord, hardcore at all.
Yeah.
Very unique, man.
The way that album came out, that EP was just very natural. I mean, and a big part of it, it was Dimmy. He let us, his mom was gracious enough. She was a supportive mom. Like, she let us rehearse downstairs, man, in the basement.
Oh, that's cool.
Unlimited. And that's how we were able to write that EP. It just came, man.
Well, you guys played a lot of shows before the EP came out?
We played
the one with Murphy's Law, and then
we played a handful of shows. And then the way the EP, it was originally a demo for Blackout Records. Bill Wilson paid for it.
Oh, wow, okay.
Right, so it was originally a demo.
Before Ecovision got it, yeah.
Yes, and then I got a copy of it, of course, once, everything was done. And I let Steve hear it. I was in 108 at the time.
Yeah.
and he was all over it. He was
Awesome,
like, dude,
man.
this is awesome. This is great. And then he says he wanted to put it out. So I tell E, like, yeah, he wants to put it out. And Mike's like, all right, cool, too. So I just tell Steve, like, sure, go ahead, put it out. And then Bill Wilson calls Steve, and he's like, dude, I paid for this. We're so naive. Like, we don't even know that, somebody had to pay for this. And
After
somebody
it came out, Bill found out about it?
Not after it came out, but after it was recorded. So Steve had to pay Bill for
Some money, yeah.
Yeah, but we were so naive. We were just like, yeah, sure, put it out. Like, we didn't know that Bill Wilson put money out of his. We weren't thinking like that. We were just thinking about the next gig and stuff. But that's how it came out on the Ecovision records.
I mean, the record's incredible. Like the I think people were surprised when that came out because who Ezec was, and you know what I'm saying, like the singing and what he was singing about, and the guitars and leads on that record. It's like
everything.
It's so unique for like a New York hardcore band. Like
everything.
It's such a great EP, man.
I think Ezec's singing and his lyrics were
heavy,
his
heavy,
best.
man.
It was his best.
Yeah.
He was very introspective and just very like thoughtful.
Riding on the trains.
Yeah,
so good.
And to this day, those are some of the best bass lines I ever laid down. Like it just everything was purely natural, man.
And to bring it back to the new generation of kids, like Crown of Thornz is in their top as a blueprint for the sound of hardcore now, and that EP comes up as well.
Dude, I
too.
remember I was talking with Justice from Trapped Under Ice at Furnace Fest, and he was just like,
They loved that.
Crown of Thorns was like
I've heard,
year zero for that band.
Over the years,
Yeah.
I've heard that,
He's got Mentally Vexed tattooed on his chest.
Yeah, but I heard a huge Crown of Thorns.
Yeah,
But it's probably
big-
Metallica too
yeah.
with that name.
Big
Right?
influence on a lot of the younger bands.
Yeah,
for
they're a
sure.
good band. It's funny they've been around for a long time, but
Great
sometimes
band.
they're still called like a new band, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It
But
is.
the influence that EP had on so many people, man, it's like
Right. And the energy of Train Yard Blues and Mentally Vexed, you can tell it's definitely a different energy from both. You know what I mean?
are you on Mentally Vexed as well?
No, I left right after. I left in '94. Right, I don't know if right after or before the EP came out.
EP came out in 95, I think.
Yeah, okay, it did, huh?
It did.
Yes, I left. Wow, yeah.
So you left before it came out?
I left in '94.
Yeah, did you guys, because would you play shows when it was released? Probably not. You weren't there. right?
Probably not.
Why'd you leave there? You 108?
I left 108 and Crown of Thorns around the same time. Yeah, I think I needed to change. I don't know. I know that after the 108 tour, man, it was just a mind blowing, man. It was like a mind fuck. I just needed to take a break from everything. I wanted to know what kind of music did I want to play? Do I still want to be a devotee?
Yeah, I was going to ask you full Krishna at that
You
time.
think? Yeah, I was definitely into it at that time, but I on that 108 tour, I got very jaded with it. I'm not going to blame anybody, but sometimes things around you and sometimes how you perceive things. But that 108 tour in Europe was that was something, man. It was a crazy tour. Like I would say me, Rob, Vic, and Kate, all four of us were on that tour, and it was a weird tour. It was kind of dark in the sense that all four of us, we were each brutally fighting like these individual demons, man. It was a weird tour like that. It was very heavy. Like I noticed it. All four of us, there was some demons inside who were fighting, man. Just it was crazy. And there was Refused's first European tour, so we took them out on their first tour too. Yeah.
You took them on their first tour?
Yes. So that was
dude.
fun, man. That was the shows were incredible. Everything, the experience was incredible. This was in 1994. You gotta understand, this was Europe not too long after the fall of the fucking Berlin Wall, man.
Yes.
And you could still see like Prague, and it just fucked with my mind. I felt like I met so many poor people that it made me feel like shit. Like I thought I had it hard. And these kids in Poland would tell me they had to save up for a month to see this show. And I think between that and everything that was going through my head, it was just a mind fuck. And I just had to get away from everything and everyone for a little bit.
European tours back then were sort of isolating anyway, right? Because you had different currency in every country.
Yes,
so always, like you'd wake up in the morning and you'd be like, whatever money I had yesterday is useless. So I got to figure out how I'm going to buy breakfast.
Yes.
And then it's different languages, no internet, no cell phones. Like if you didn't have a really tight bond with your crew, you could really drift off into the weeds.
Yeah.
In Europe back in the 90s.
But that was an incredible era, because when I was in Crown of Thorns in 108, I was playing every show. I played every Thugcore show. every fucking hot thugcore bill that was on.
And then a Krishna show.
Every hot fucking straight edge show, because with Crown of Thornz, it was always Crown of Thornz, H2O, Marauder, 25 to Life, Sub-Zero. It was always a monopolized bill, and all these other bands were, it sucked for the other bands. Like some of the other bands, like Fahrenheit 451, they were good bands, but they weren't part. I know, you know what I mean. We were young, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it was always the same bill.
It was like Crown of Thornz, H2O, Madball, all us together,
Sub-Zero,
all the same shows.
Yeah, and then with 108, it was always 108, Snapcase, Earth Crisis, and like the tune-in. Those are insane, man.
Yeah,
so it was just I was busy, man.
Were you guys staying at temples and stuff in Europe at that time in '94?
Yeah, man.
Temples on tour in Europe.
Only temples.
Only temples, no hotels.
Been there, done that.
Oh, yeah, an additional hotel or sometimes the venue or temples. Yeah, man.
Wow, super DIY.
And I think that was what maybe some of it got me a little jaded, because Europe has these had a reputation of like sometimes the devotees, they're overly like militant, and it was just like, sometimes when you get too militant, things become negative, and sometimes you could perceive it that way, but you shouldn't. You know what I mean? I shouldn't have, but when you're younger, you don't think like that, But
like I'm more Christian than you type thing.
Yeah,
like more extreme, or just
stuff like that. But we stayed in temple, but that was also a cool experience to be able to see, every single temple in that Hare Krishna movement like that.
Yeah,
it didn't suck. Also,
Were you questioning like you're being a devotee when you're over there? Like, am I really into this? Or
yeah, I was questioning it. I was
question the uncertainty.
Quest for certainty.
Certainty, my bad.
Yeah, I was questioning it, and it was just I saw a lot of I don't know, sometimes straight edge Krishna, especially in the younger days, there's a lot of like separation and judgment.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm hanging out with my other band, and they never judge people for what they do, but why does this side have to always judge? And I was like, do I really want to be like, so all those kinds were thoughts were coming in too, and stuff like that.
That's interesting.
And I just, I think that tour, it made me think about my place in the world, because I thought I knew it all, but I never saw so much suffering. It just blew my mind. You're just this kid in Jackson Heights, New York, that thought he knew everything because you take the subway to the Lower East Side, but you really don't, man.
Yeah, man.
That was what tour was like back then, because the world wasn't like in the palm of your hand. You had to go out and find it. So
yes.
When you would go on tour, you would have these you would see these different cultures and these different lifestyles that just when you came home, you were going to be changed by what you had seen.
Yes, like very much so, man. Very much.
Be more
so.
Grateful too.
Yeah, very much more grateful, and that's when I took a little time off. I mean, dude, Crown of Thornz were fucking pissed at me. I mean, there was a grudge for a long time.
Damn.
It was never public, but I can feel the vibes, man. And I understood, like I know Mike was fucking pissed, and so was Ezec, and they were all. I understand, but each band that I was in, for the time that I was in the band, I felt that was my time in the band. It was perfect. Like my time in 108, it was exactly for the Songs of Separation era. And when I look back on it, it was the perfect fit, because musically they veered off in a different direction. And musically, my style was very compatible with what 108 were doing at the time.
Yeah.
What their vibe was at the time. Their vibe at the time was just this very angry, ferocious, that was the vibe. And when we played those shows, man, we gave it, man.
Such a sick record.
Yeah, we gave it to them, man. We gave it to the crowd, man. And we put on a fucking show.
Yeah, you killed it in both bands. Like you gave it everything you had.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you were just like dialing it in. Yeah.
So, those times, that I fit in, it was in the band, even for Shelter, it was all at the right time. Like even when I see Shelter now, like it's a different band than I was in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's been a lot of lineups in Shelter.
It's a different whole like vibe and everything. So that time I was in Shelter, it was perfect. How
long is the gap between leaving Crown of Thornz 108 then joining Shelter?
Okay.
Like how long are you not playing music for? Like how long does it last?
A few months. So I had left around October, November, right? 108, I told them before the European tour that I was going to leave. And, it was fine, no bad feelings, because my whole thing with 108 was I said to myself, when I joined 108, I said, if I'm not, if I'm not with the program, then that's when it's time for me to exit. I wanted to be real about it,
Yeah.
So they understood. And I we've been friends. That's never gone away. So I always went to see 108 play after and stuff. So that's always been cool. So after that, I started getting back into Krishna consciousness again, just reading, just for myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I moved into the temple, and I had decided that I'm not going to play music. I'm just going to be a full-on Krishna. I want to go on with this. So
Where's the temple at in Brooklyn?
Brooklyn.
Okay.
So my story is not unlike Purcell's circumstances of joining Shelter, despite the fact that, we never told each other or communicated to each other about this. But I went to the temple. I sold about 75% of my music collection. There's like 25% I couldn't part with.
Oh, records and stuff?
Yeah, and
Wow.
most of my shirts too. And so I kept a little bit of my music collection, some T-shirts, a practice amp, and my basses. And I moved into the temple. And Shelter guys were living in there, right? I don't know if Adam was living. Yeah, Adam was already there.
Yeah.
He was in
Holy
Shelter
shit,
before
where's
me.
the connection?
So I...
What year is this?
95.
Okay.
So I had no intention of joining Shelter.
Adam's there.
Yes.
Okay.
And Shelter had already showed interest in me joining the band while I was in 108. But because I was in 108, I didn't want to,
Yeah.
I was in there. So I declined on that. But I was in the temple at the time, and they saw me there just kind of by myself, and they wanted me in the band, and I was like, I just
All by yourself.
yeah, I was like, I was like, I have other, I kind of have other intentions. And I was like, I want to just do this Krishna thing full on. But I also had a teacher at the time, a guru, right? And Ray's guru was there too. And I guess they talked and stuff, and it was really cool of them. They looked out for me. These two teachers, they saw this young kid that wanted to be a devotee, but who had a lot of pent up energy. And I you can tell they looked out for me, and they were like, this kid, he's got too much pent up energy. He may not be have fun as a monk, but maybe in Shelter he can use his energy for something positive.
Wow.
I think that's
Yeah.
And so I ended up kind of joining Shelter, and at the end of the day, I was a fucking musician. You know what I mean? So I joined Shelter as a guitar player, and then Adam was playing bass, because on Mantra Adam plays bass.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, we just switched, because I don't know if you were originally a guitar player.
I don't remember how the switch happened. I just remember at one point they're like, now you're playing guitar. Franklin's playing bass. And I was like,
Yeah,
all right.
and he wasn't Adam, he was Pob.
Yeah, that was
yeah.
my nickname back then. And I remember Purcell took the time to like teach me how to play guitar. Like he's like, all right, we got, you're going to play guitar. Because I mean, they could have technically kicked me to the curb, right? But they're like, let's keep him in. And they and I learned to play. What's funny is I never played any Mantra songs live on bass.
You never have, huh?
Never played Mantra live ever.
Despite the fact that you
Despite
recorded
the fact
it.
that I play on the play bass on the record, I only ever played guitar
so
live.
this is
Oh.
how me and Adam's friendship began. So he was already in the temple there.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing this big, tall, like
I met
English
you. I
dude
remember
walking
meeting you
around.
on the stairs.
I remember.
passing you on the stairs. And like, this is Franklin. I'm like, hey, nice to meet you, Franklin. And we like just kept going.
That's crazy.
But we
dude.
bonded right away
Yeah.
because we were like the same age. And even though I had, I played in a few bands before, this situation with Shelter, this is fucking new. This is a different level, man. This is Roadrunner Records.
Yeah.
I'm a metalhead, man. Obituary, Sepultura, King Diamond. This is Holy Terror, all Roadrunner Records, man.
You had arrived at your perfect destination.
Yeah, and so for me and Adam especially too, it was very like it was new. We were the young guys in the band.
Yeah.
These guys were like 8-10 years older than us. So
That's right. And how long you'd been in America in the temple when?
So I did the Shelter audition, I think, end of 94. I think I moved, got the gig, moved at like start of 95, did Mantra, and then we did the switch where Franklin came in on bass and I switched to guitar. I from what I recall, we were living in the same room, right? It was you, me, Raghunath, and Paramananda in one room
in the temple, man.
Yeah,
No
living
way.
in one room in the temple, sleeping on these hard
On-
wood beds.
No
No hot
mattress.
water in the temple, like just freezing cold showers, no toilet paper. Like
What?
it's like as
Old school.
austere as it gets. But
No toilet paper?
People use toilet paper.
yeah, I smuggled
they
it
would
in.
buy their own.
But a lot of the people, traditionally, you would.
That's an
swat-
Indian tradition.
Yeah, you would
They
wash.
use water.
You would take a
Okay.
full shower after
You shower after you take a dump. That's
you would
an Indian
shower, so you
tradition,
wouldn't need
so-
toilet paper.
And where did the nickname Pop come from?
That was from a puppet show in England that my friends in England were like, "You look like that puppet."
And if you
Pop.
Google
And they
it,
just started calling me it. Yeah,
looks like 'em.
And there was
Okay.
sort of a crossover between the Americans I met in when I was in England, who ended up being the conduit for me joining.
And Mackie used to call him Pablo.
Yeah.
Mackie still calls him Pop.
Pablo.
Still to this
Yeah, I
day.
like Pablo. I like to keep
Pablo.
that one going.
Well, did you have a Christian name too?
No, you have to get initiated to get a Christian name, so I
Okay.
never went
Yeah.
that far down it.
I almost did, but I
So it takes a while to get to that level.
yeah, the reason why I didn't go through with it because I'm not pointing any fingers. I'm just making a factual statement. But most people don't follow those vows. They break it at some point, and I didn't want to do that. That's why.
Yeah, being true to yourself
I'm
about
not,
that. Yeah,
to each their own. Because the people that do it, they always get up again, and that's cool.
yeah.
But I didn't want to do it. It was just I didn't want to do it that way.
Respect that.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
the most serious commitment.
And
Is it okay?
Yeah.
and I was also in a place also. Again, I got jaded, man, and and I just had to wonder, man, do I where is
Yeah.
Yeah. So
What's real and what isn't too. Yeah.
Yeah. I got jaded through some stuff too, but yeah.
At what point were you considering initiation? Like, was it when it was after
yeah.
I was gone, right? Or was it?
Yeah, I was still there. Yeah, I was still full on at that point. Yeah. I mean, I still I'm still very much into it. Like I watch a lot of stuff on YouTube. Like I love that, Vaishnavism. That's what it's called. That's the culture.
Yeah.
It's ancient, man. It is ancient, and the stuff it's saying these days, people are catching on to it. You see all these like people are getting into like Eastern, thought, and that stuff's always been there, man. It's just guys like John and Ray caught onto it earlier than these trendy youngsters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you still like chant and stuff like that, or?
No, but I get it. I read. I haven't been to a temple in a while, but I would like to go. Maybe me and Adam. But I love it.
Go
man.
get some prasadam somewhere.
Yeah, no, I love it, and I mean, I know, at the time of death, I know, I don't think it's going to be, the Bible in my hand, it's not going to be that, it'll I'll be thinking about Bhagavad Gita or the Puranas.
I've always thought like the time in shelter is like our get out of hell free card. You know what I mean? Like at the end of life, we might not get reborn, like we might not go all the way up, but we're probably going to be in a better position next round because of the stuff we did.
But the stuff that scientists talk about these days, these Vedic scriptures, man, they've been talking about it. Like this whole thing, the scientists, you've been hearing a lot of stuff about how they're saying reality is a simulation.
Yeah.
The Vedas have been talking about this for thousands of years. They've been saying that, they've been saying that this world isn't real. It's a reflection of what is real. And there's a lot of stuff in there, man. And the older I get, the more I realize, like, especially with the stuff Prabhupada was saying, because when you're 17, you're reading him talking about how, one day, age is going to come and we got to prepare and stuff. When you're 17, 40 seems like a long way away.
Yeah.
But when you're 52, you realize like, wow, this guy he's really right, man. And I'm,
Yeah.
like you see the carnivores just becoming vegetarians now.
True.
Straight up carnivores taking up vegetarianism now. Like, so people are catching on,
Yeah. I think the world's changing. We're seeing that, especially with social media, everything. You see so many things.
Right.
And with global warming, everything, man, all that.
But the thing with going back to with shelter, with Adam, the stuff we experienced, man, it was constant TV, fucking media. I remember one time, man, we had this charlatan of a manager. I told these guys, don't take this guy named Brian Ross. And I told them, like, don't take this guy. This guy's a charlatan. And they drank the Kool-Aid, and, it was a bad decision. But I remember Brian Ross, he took me, Adam, Ray, and Purcell to fucking 48th Street, Sam Ash, and just let us pick out whatever we wanted. Because the label gave us fucking tour support. Dude,
Wow.
we were I picked out cabinets.
Really?
I got a Crate Blue Voodoo.
Yeah,
I remember.
Crate Blue Voodoo. He
Crate
got it
Blue
for free
Voodoo.
from Crate. Adam picked out some other stuff. He was being sponsored by Gibson.
Yeah.
I bought some Ampeg stuff and all these metalhead guys at the Sam Ash, they're all bitter, like, you know what I mean, hating on us. And
It's going like a free shopping spree.
yeah. It was just incredible, like the stuff that we experienced. That Channel 7, ABC News, they had a big music show. They covered us. Like, we were just getting all kinds of coverage. We did this like mini tour in England. I think we played like a dozen shows. I got the laminate right here. Like,
Yeah.
you don't play 12 shows in England. You know what I mean?
No.
And they were all bangers. Too.
Yeah, and then we played on some TV show that Adam said was like a
we played on The Word, which was like the next, like maybe one step down from Top of the Pops, which was the biggest music show. The Word was like the next one down. So yeah, we did a ton of like very high profile media stuff. And then the shows, what was crazy about the shows is you had this sort of mash of like, you had all the straight edge hardcore kids coming out, and then you had devotees who were not into music at all, and they would do like, they would do their Sankirtan, which is like their chanting and dancing in the pit before we went on. And it was this really kind of wild intersection of these different worlds, but everybody was having like a really good time.
And was that the show with the Bentley limo?
Wait, remind me about
There was a show with the Bentley limo. They put up they put on makeup for us for the TV
that was,
show.
I think that was The Word. I think that was The Word, and we had to go
Wow.
play like a hardcore show afterwards.
And then they drove us. It took us to London. Like crazy experiences like that.
Is this because Here We Go is taken off on the radio
Yes,
from Mantra?
and
Okay.
England, from what I heard, is a very very hard to please media, but for some reason they loved Shelter.
It's a cool story. Like you've got like this punk rock band, but they're also Hare Krishnas.
Yeah.
And with England, there's sort of this deep love of the Beatles and anything connected. And George Harrison was very involved in Krishna consciousness. And Boy George was starting to talk about Krishna consciousness. So there was sort of this weird moment, you wouldn't be able to reproduce it, where all of sort of these worlds came together.
And the biggest fans were your parents, man.
Oh, my parents
They
were
were
really,
awesome.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
They
man.
kept every magazine clipping.
I
And
remember they told me this.
And
yeah.
whenever we went to England, they put us up, and they were just
Hounslow.
Hounslow,
Yeah,
man.
Hounslow.
His parents, man. I remember them.
So was the video taken off overseas first, and then did it start getting played in America too on MTV, or?
Well, I would say yes, just based on the sense that if back in those days, Roadrunner, they were the biggest independent label in the world, but they could not compete with the majors in the U.S. as powerful as they were. But outside of American territory, they had major label power.
Okay.
So outside of America, the video was doing good. America, it was good, but I think in America, you have to pay a lot of money to get these videos.
Yeah.
And Roadrunner only had so much money. Like, you can't compete with Epic Records financing Rage Against the Machine. Like, you can't compare that budgeting. Like, they just didn't have that kind of money.
Yeah.
But for a hardcore band singing Krishna core stuff, I think we did pretty damn well in the States.
Did that record go gold?
No.
I have no
It
idea.
probably did by now, though. No.
I don't think it's in print. No, it didn't go gold. It seemed like it had some really good potential. Like, I remember it was hard for Roadrunner to push some records. They had a few, but they had to really push. Like, I remember Fear Factory, Sepultura, Typo Negative went gold, but they had to do like serious pushing. Like, they might have even lost a little money to push it to go gold. But
How long are you guys in the band together?
Shelter?
You and Adam, how you
Like
guys in the
18
band?
months maybe.
Yeah.
It's not even that long, dude.
Summer of 95 until
90
Brazil.
yeah,
Summer
Brazil.
of
Yeah,
96.
because Brazil, you were massive. Like, people shaking the vans. And Adam told me about all these
Yeah.
stories how Brazil was.
Yeah, the first time I went, I actually went with Ray and Purcell a week earlier, before Adam and Roy Mayorga.
Yeah.
was in
Shout out
the
to
band.
Roy, man.
Great friend, great drummer.
Yes.
So I went a week earlier with those guys. It was like some press thing. And I remember me and Ray, we went out, we decided to go take a walk outside. And there was a mall across the street from the hotel. And that was the first blast we got. As soon as we walked into the mall, we were bombarded by mothers and daughters. Like it was
Crazy,
like, it
dude.
was like a little scary, like, whoa. And so that was the first taste of what it was going to be like. And I will tell you, Adam was the heartthrob of Brazil, like that British
Now,
Beatles looking dude,
Franklin.
like he was definitely, wow, yeah. That Adam,
He had the hair, too, and he's like,
the
English.
English blue eyes. He was the heartthrob of the band. Yeah. That was Adam's tour, man.
Was it crazy for you to experience all that stuff, too? Adam?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was because we were hardcore kids.
Yeah.
You don't expect to. We had bodyguards, and we were being out. We would leave the show in like a van, and kids would be chasing the van in cars,
Dude.
and like leaning out and screaming at us. Once again, this is before cell phones, so
Yeah.
it's
Damn,
insane
dude.
experience. And I think it's a lot to do with the fact that because Shelter was such a religious-centric band, and South America is a very religious country, there was kind of a nice crossover there. That once again, that kind of meeting of the worlds.
Yeah, she fart, Stella? Oh no. Oh, so being Krishna back then, were you guys allowed to talk to the fans? Was it some weird?
Oh
thing
no,
talking to
not at
people?
all.
No,
Okay,
I
okay.
mean we were allowed to talk to the fans, but there was boundaries you couldn't go
Okay.
past, which is sort of one of the reasons I started to find myself feeling very trapped in Shelter, because I like, you know, I felt myself as like a musician, and like I kind of wanted to do musician shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I'd
yeah.
grown up seeing like all these other guys in bands do, and I was like, being in a Hare Krishna band and what kind of my desires for my life were not comparable.
There's a lot of rules.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but you know, you figure it was hard to mix those two worlds sometimes, but
Mhm.
I think the whole point of Shelter was expose that message, and it did expose a lot of people.
Yeah.
Maybe some people got something cool out of it. I mean, I got this message from the Cro-Mags, and it was something cool, man.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I discovered this. So maybe same thing.
It is interesting though. There's always been this thread of Eastern spirituality that sort of has entered into hardcore. In fact, spirituality, period. Because we can take it back to Bad Brains. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, Bad Brains.
yeah. It's very interesting how much it's infused this music that we do.
But the can of worms that John and Harley opened up, like it's
On Age of Core, I was going to say that. Yeah.
it's incredible what those two did, man. I mean, I got my first exposure to Krishna consciousness was like probably 13 years old. Age of Core, 1986.
Yeah.
What kind of beats are those?
Yeah.
Like I was reading, the interview, and Cro-Mags are followers of something called Hare Krishna. I'm like, what the hell is that? I'm like, what is this? But I'm very intrigued, and something about these beads and stuff, and yeah, it all starts at that, like a lot of hardcore.
But it's
bands,
crazy that record
kids.
was so important, and it is Krishna conscious based, but it wasn't until Shelter that it really took off, where people really started like checking out that lifestyle and coming to the shows, and people, because were devotees coming out to Cro-Mag shows back in the day and doing the stuff they were doing at Shelter?
Probably not.
I never heard that before.
Shelter were a lot less scary.
That's
than
what I'm
Cro-Mags.
saying.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
a lot less intimidating.
It was
I think.
delivered more positive, like
Yeah.
melodic and catchier songs.
Yeah.
and
It was a little more.
It wasn't threatening.
Yeah, with the Cro-Mags,
Yeah.
it was definitely there was some. Yeah,
There was some menace.
So
in
so
the
maybe
air.
that message it was in there, but you had to really know it's in there. You knew the album cover and stuff for Age of Core, but if you didn't really know, you didn't know, right? It's like cool artwork.
Yeah.
Unless you were listening to the lyrics, you realize these skinhead dudes are really a part of this lifestyle.
But then Best Wishes.
That's the one.
That album.
Yeah.
Every single lyric is
there's a
Krishna
lot more
conscious.
of Krishna consciousness
They were
on Best
crushing the
Wishes.
demoniac and stuff. Yeah.
It's just that album. The lyrics are as
The
Krishna
only
conscious
one is
Okay.
like
as
a
Shelter.
like all about Krishna.
It's
Okay.
as Krishna conscious
Yeah.
as Shelter.
Yeah.
Or one.
But there's
every
different kind.
song.
I found out later on. There's different kind of Christians. Like that's kind of like some warriors. There's different kind of Christians who deliver the message in a different way.
Chatriyas, yeah, like that was always kind of the idea with the Cro-Mags, right? They were the Chatriya band. They were
Okay.
the
That's
warrior,
a- yeah.
Krishna conscious spiritual warrior band.
Yeah.
Shelter was maybe a little bit more Brahminical, which is a little bit.
But
I don't know.
those aren't different
Lighter,
cliques or different.
I guess.
Is there like different cliques in that world too? Like different. Not who's more Christian, but one who represents in a way. Like when we think about veganism, we think of people who go throw fake blood on people with fur. Some people approach it really militant. Some people don't. So there's different.
Yes.
ways.
Well, that was I think 108 and Shelter had differences in how they wanted to present it. From what I remember
Yeah.
hearing murmurs of that back in the day about how 108 wanted to be a little more not as obvious Krishna consciousness, like wearing the traditional clothing on
Yep,
stage or something
yep.
like that. But then Vic ended up wearing traditional garb on stage
Yes.
anyway. But I think maybe there was some difference. Yeah, of course you're going to have differences in philosophy too. Like you talk to like Ray or Vic, they're both God brothers or were at one time. And you talk to them, they're both same thought, same school, different philosophies.
Same
So-
as other religions. Yeah.
yeah, and I guess you're going to get that with hardcore too. Some people prefer thugcore over posecore or whatever.
True.
It's all hardcore though. So yeah.
But it's all delivering the message in their own way. Correct. It's all for the greater good of Krishna consciousness. Cro-Mags and Shelter and 108. They're all delivering the same message of the same God, right?
At the end of the day, it's what Prabhupada's, his teachings. Yes, that's where we all got it from.
I mean, the one
At the end of
question
the day,
that
yeah.
I always wanted to ask somebody who was in Krishna conscious, me and Adam talk about a lot on the road. I think I've talked to Steve Reddy about it recently. Like, I never understood why Christians weren't vegan. They still ate dairy because the cow is sacred.
Well, I know that they, when they have dairy, it's blessed, right? And that, I guess, according to philosophy, offsets some of that karma. But well, I know like on the Krishna farms too, the cows definitely, they're not abused, man.
Yeah, of course.
But I know dairy is just a huge part of the culture.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of Krishna conscious temples, maybe they're starting to buy less
dairy.
Yeah, less dairy or dairy that's sourced better now that it's more available. I'm thinking, I know that they're very aware.
Because this is before factory farming when all this stuff.
Right.
So,
Right.
Remember we talked to Steve about it too?
Yeah.
Because
interesting.
like if you go to the Krishna farm, these cows, like they run to you to get milked because they're so filled up, like they need to get rid of it. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
cows are beautiful animals, man.
So you guys both been to India before, right?
I've been there. Yeah.
I never went to India.
Oh, sure. Okay,
I've been there. Yeah. I've been there.
So you were deep in. So how long? So you guys are both in shelter for, like you said, 18 months. And who leaves first out of the band?
Definitely Adam.
I'm the first.
Well, Adam. Well, like I said, man, these are times in our band. It's our time. So it was perfect because look, you guys. Eric Rice was exited.
Fantastic,
insane, bro.
And you needed somebody.
Yeah.
It was the timing. It was meant to be.
It was almost 2 weeks after he left the band.
It was meant to be, just like it was meant to be for me to join Shelter at the time I joined.
Yeah.
Like, Eric Rice, fucking great guy too.
Yes,
awesome
dude.
guy. But so it was the right time. Like if it was 2 weeks, that was meant to be.
It was crazy, dude.
He fit your band perfect.
Yeah.
I know, and I came right to America and tried out.
Yeah.
It was just like, it was just perfect.
I didn't even try out Freestore, actually.
Oh, you didn't?
I just
Okay.
flew out and learn the set. We're playing PWAC.
With
in, like, a
Madball.
week. Yeah, with Madball.
Damn.
I just think, I remember looking back on the time show, just the murderer's row we had of drummers. Just like every drummer that we had in Shelter ended up going off to do something awesome, right? We had Ben Kenny, who ended up playing bass in Incubus.
Right.
Damn.
Right? We had Mackie, who moved on to Fun Yav and Criminals. We had Alex, who moved on to Save the Day. And we had Roy Mayorga, who moved on to like
Soulfly.
Ozzy Osbourne, Soulfly, Stone Sour,
Yeah.
Ministry.
Wow, dude.
Like we had just every if you sat behind the drums in that period in Shelter, you were guaranteed of like
That's what it
something
seems like.
good
Yeah,
happening
yeah.
to you afterwards.
Shelter had a revolving door of drummers,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
So when you left, did you quit?
No, the band it disbanded sort of, and then it disbanded
After Adam left, it fell apart.
That's what I like to tell myself. But they did
after
4 more
Adam
records.
left, it definitely, the market for music was changing. I did the whole Beyond Planet Earth cycle. So after Adam left, we continued. There was still a lot of fucking hype from the band because right after Adam, we did the Helter Skelter tour with it was when the Sex Pistols first reunited. So headlining it was Sex Pistols, the Sisters of Mercy, Cypress Hill, Dog Eat Dog, Shelter, and Sugar Ray.
What?
So that was a little arena tour. That was a festival tour we did. That did a lot for the band and stuff.
Were you in the No Doubt tour?
Yeah, I did the No Doubt tour.
Wow.
That was the very last tour for the Mantra cycle, and then came the Beyond Planet Earth, and then the music market started to change as well.
Okay.
I felt Mantra had more life to it. I don't think they should have ended it. I felt they probably had 1 or 2 more singles, but
yeah.
record labels tell you what to do.
Absolutely. Man.
They tell you to stop touring, so we stopped the touring.
So you toured to the end of that cycle pretty much, and that was it for you.
Yeah, and then they Beyond Planet Earth.
Are you just living off music at that point?
Yeah, at that point, there's the band is fully
And
functioning.
you're still living in the temple, right? At that point as well.
At that point, I left at some point.
Okay.
I think after that Helter Skelter tour, I think it was just, it was like everyone was kind of one by one moving out of the temple and stuff like that too. But that a lot of money was spent on Beyond Planet Earth.
Okay. That one really went for it. Are you on that one?
Yeah, the budget
with the Reagan and the rap songs too.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
It was it's a good album. It stood the test of time if you take out 3 songs.
Is one of them the Scar song?
Yeah, the Ska song, which I don't know if
I mean, Purcell said on the podcast that they were trying to get hits.
Yeah.
They wrote that record. They were trying to get some hits. They saw No Doubt. They saw the success of a lot of these ska bands and all this stuff.
So the way Beyond Planet Earth, what happened was that album just went really out of budget. Like the original budget was $250,000 just to record the album. It went way over budget, and that's not including marketing and all this other stuff. So right after we finished that whole cycle, we started having to write, need to write the record, and we ended up getting a lockout in the music building. And who do we get that fucking lockout with? We shared it with the White Devil, the Chromax.
Whoa.
It was awesome for me, man.
This is how you end up getting.
Yeah. So this.
Damn, White Devil, that's right.
Yeah. So this is, we shared a rehearsal.
Had you met the Chromax before at that point?
Strangely enough, I first met Harley This is going back now even further back to pre-hardcore days. When I was 15 years old, I first met Harley, because back in 88, my friend Rob Buckley, who was a kid from Corona, long hair, metalhead guy with, wore a white leather jacket. He's really into like Fates Warning and Queensryche, but he liked some heavy stuff, and he could shred. Sitting in this room, we would just always get stoned and play music, and he goes, he shows me this ad in the Village Voice. He goes, look, man, there's an ad here. It says metalcore band signed to Profile Records needs a guitarist.
What?
And I'm like, okay, it has to be the Chromax. Like Leeway's already there. They already have a full lineup. Destruction's not a metalcore band. I was telling him, it's got to be the Chromax. It has to be the Chromax. It has to be the Chromax. I'm like, I'm all excited. I'm 15, man. These guys, I see these guys in magazines. I'm like, it's got to be the Chromax. I'm going to lend you my record. So it was the Chromax.
Wow.
So this guy, he ended up some random metalhead kid in 1988. I'm 15. He's probably 17, 18. Joins the Chromax.
He joined him.
He joins the Chromax, and like, there's stuff like I can tell you like how far it goes back. Like if you, one day he went upstairs. He goes, oh, dude, I got to go take a dump. Comes back downstairs and he grabs his guitar and he plays a riff. And he goes, what do you think of this riff? It just came into my mind. I'm like, that's a great riff. Well, that riff became the first riff to that song, See the Signs, on the Alpha Omega album.
Wow.
So he helped write the album with Harley and Paris. Like he joined
Alpha Omega.
Yeah, he was in that band for a little while, and then it was short-lived, but like that's when I first fucking met Harley. Like I was just hanging out at his house, and Harley calls him on the landline and says, hey, you want to go over some songs? But I don't have a bass. So he goes, let me ask my friend. And then my friend's like, hey, can Harley borrow your bass? I'm like, yeah, of course, man.
Dude.
So, this is how I learned too. I watched Harley fucking play bass, and I watched how he played, and I was like, okay, so that's how you get that sound. Like if you hear my bass playing too, like you will hear Harley in there. Like that's my biggest influence. Okay. Especially on the right hand. Like, so that's when, me getting involved in the hardcore scene, like it just all started trickling in those years.
So then fast forward, then you're in the spot at the music building. Yeah.
So we write this whole album, and typical record company stuff. We write this whole album. We have Dave DiCenzo playing drums on it, and Tom Source is back producing because he did a really great job. And we write a whole album. And this album was because of all the touring we were doing. We're playing with different bands. Yeah. The festivals. Everyone started getting better as musicians. Like we started writing these songs that they started sounding like very experimental, like Smashing Pumpkins and Cooler Shaker and a little bit White Zombie, like, and Shelter. It was just very experimental. And in Roadrunner Records, there was like the A&R, like executives, they all stuffed themselves into the rehearsal room watching us jam, like all stuffed. They're just standing there with their arms
Monty Connor
folded.
back then?
Huh?
Monty Connor?
Monty Connor was there, even though he wasn't our A&R guy, it was Mike Gitter. But he came anyway.
Shout out to Gitter, man.
Yeah. Because first it was Howie Abrams, and then he left to jive, and then Gitter came in. And they were all standing there with their like arms crossed, looking at us performing this whole album. It made us scrap the album, man. And we had to write the whole album in a month. Wow. They wanted another mantra.
Wow.
So that album sounds
pressure, man.
It sounds like that because it was written in a month. That's why, and then we were trying to emulate that genre variety that Mantra had, but there's like that ska song, and the ska song was originally like a Here We Go type song, and I sarcastically played it like a ska bass line, and then the drummer, he jumped in and played a fake ska bass line, and then the producer goes, wait, stop. That sounds incredible, blah, blah, blah. And it ended up, and I was like,
whoa.
And I was like, no.
Do you feel like that was kind of forced, that record then, I guess? You think they tried too hard to have another hit?
Yes, and that ska song too, man. I was joking around, man, and it caught the producer's ears. And I was like, no, that was a joke. That was a joke. And it became, so I kind of feel like maybe I took a little blame for that one. But because I might still have some original cassette recording of that song where it was a Here We Go type
Was
song.
the band happy with the record before it came out? Like, they stoked on it?
No, like even like the first single was Whole Wide World, and that's a good song, but it wasn't a single. We didn't want it, and we got overridden. And then the No Doubt tour came, and then they decided to do the ska song as a single. It was just it sucked. Man. It was at that time where everyone on Roadrunner that was hardcore was getting dropped. Earth Crisis, VOD, Dog Eat Dog, Madball. It was just that time because Slipknot and Limp Bizkit, they were kind of coming into play, and that whole genre. And that's when I kind of exited a little bit out of the music. I wasn't feeling that genre.
Biohazard was big on there too.
Yeah, Biohazard were on Roadrunner for one album.
Yeah.
Right, and they went to Warner. But yeah.
It's a pretty common story though, right? Like, what if a label's going to give you, like, what did you say, $250,000? They want to see a return on the investment. Like, when we did the Go record on MCA, like, you can feel like it's an unstated pressure, right? Like,
yes,
they're spending a lot of money on your band, and they want you to sell enough records for them to make that money back. This isn't like a charity artist funding thing. It's a business.
Yeah, like Beyond Planet Earth, from what the manager told me, when the record label, when they dropped us, they were already $1 million in the hole. And this was in less than 1 year since the release of the album. It was marketing. Well, yeah, they dropped us. Like I said, we didn't sell a ton of records. We're a hardcore band, and the music climate was definitely changing. It was, you had to sound like Slipknot or Limp Bizkit. There was no other way. There was no other way.
Korn.
Yeah. And the other thing was also, one thing that really caused a bad schism with the label was that we were doing the European tour, and it was a big tour. It was one of the best tours I ever did with Shelter, and it was a headlining tour, a bus, everything. We didn't really want to tour without a bus after that accident, and they said, no, you guys can't do the tour. We just remixed the ska single. We just paid radio. You guys are going on tour in the U.S. We said, no, fuck you. We didn't want this as a single. We're touring Europe. Okay, then we're pulling tours apart. You know what? Fuck you. We have enough money to pay for our own bus and pay for our crew and salaries. We're going on tour to Europe.
Wow.
Label said, all right, fuck you. We're going to drop you. That's what happened.
No way.
Yeah, that's what happened.
They spent their own money for the whole tour.
The band was big enough to do that at that time. But, there was some tension in the band too between everyone, even with Ray and Purcell. There was tension. Just everybody. It was just too much going on, too much tours. Everyone was like going in different directions. Just
guys getting burnt out probably on touring.
Oh yes, 100%. So that's what happened, and then that's when I decided to move to LA.
So when you came back from that tour.
Yeah, after that tour, I decided.
And the band kind of dismantles at that point after that.
Well, they ended up putting out that other record. 20 Summers Past or something, so they didn't really disband, I guess, or something. I don't know.
You were done with it.
But yeah, I was already here, and I was already doing stuff with Andrew. I was forming a band, Anger Means.
Yeah, Anger Means,
which turned into Strife. But so I was already happy here doing my thing.
So you just came back and moved to LA, and you had a lot of friends out here? It was just Andrew?
Oh, no, Andrew was actually I would say he's the first friend I made as a resident to LA, but I was already friends with the guys from Downset.
Okay.
So I moved. We
talked about them earlier today. Yeah.
Right. So I moved on Oxnard Street, right alongside these guys down the street.
Okay.
So I was on right off Oxnard and Lancashire. James, the bass player, was up the block from me.
I remember James. Awesome.
Andrew was on Oxnard and Coldwater. And then the other singer, the Rody Meth. Remember that kid? He did the verse. I was jamming with him too. He lived up the street on Laurel Canyon. So we were all, I moved near everyone. So I was
moved
chilling.
From Queens to there?
Yes.
Had you spent time in California before that?
Pretty much no.
Wow.
I was it was funny because I was thinking of moving to either Amsterdam or Sao Paulo too, because I liked those cities so much, and I knew people there. So it wasn't like I was going to go there friendless, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But LA, I just felt, the less language barrier and closer, and I can get some more stuff done.
Did you have money saved up and stuff to come out?
Yeah. I came out here and I had some money saved up, so I was able to jam a little and just get myself.
And your goal was just to do more music and.
Yeah, but things that don't pan out and stuff like that, and the musical climate was it was getting worse, man.
Yeah, what year is that?
We're talking like going 99 to 2000. It was just bad, man. But people just stopped buying records, and it was. And I was hitting that age where maybe I need to learn something else. Yeah,
you start doing real estate too out here then too.
I did get into mortgages and stuff for all because you don't want to couch surf when you're in your 30s or 40s, man. Not for me at least. Some people were into it. They just wanted to tour, but I didn't want to. I had a certain standard I wanted to maintain.
How long did you spend with Anger Means?
Anger Means, that was a great time. I think we played like 3-4 shows as Anger Means, and so it was me, Andrew, Sid, Rick, and another guitar player named Tom. So it's basically
Rick Rodney.
Yeah, Rick Rodney was singing. So basically, And then Todd joined back. Todd also joined back Anger Means. And then they started throwing Strife songs a little bit. And it was only like less than a year since Strife disbanded. I felt a little bit like maybe this isn't for me. This is more a Strife reunion.
Yeah.
It's their legacy. And, it's kind of the original lineup. And Chad came by to the rehearsal once or twice. And I could tell he wanted to be there. It's his band, man.
Yeah.
So I told him, like, look, I'm going to leave after the next show. And I told him because I was thinking maybe he'll say something to them so he can rejoin the band.
Yeah.
Because it's Strife, man. It's his band. He should be there, not me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happened. Andrew called me, a week later. Hey, you don't have to play the show. Chad told me. I was like, oh, okay. It would have been nice if I told you first. But all right. But no, it was cool. Like I kind of wanted it that way. So I don't know. Maybe I helped them kind of get that little reunion going. I don't know. But because they started throwing in more Strife songs and stuff, so I was like, this is their thing. But I ended up joining Strife again as a member, like some years later. A little bit back in 2002. That was short-lived, but I was like officially in that band at the time.
What are you doing to survive at that point then? You start working in Southern California or just?
Yes, I was working at that time. And then right when I joined Strife, it was cool because it was right after 9/11. And the thing was, I was working for a company that was doing stocks.
Wow.
So right after 9/11, that company pretty much folded, like a lot of stock companies. So that Strife tour came up. And then they were down to do it full on, man. They were like, we want to keep doing this. And, some things got them jaded again, too. Victory didn't treat them good. You know what I mean? They didn't support them. So I think they just felt jaded. So the band it disbanded. But then, like, 2 weeks after I come home from that tour, AJ Novello leaves a message on my answering machine to call him, asking me to join the Cro-Mags. And
damn.
And so I actually was able to survive off that for a little bit because even though it was the dark times of hardcore, it was Cro-Mags and John.
Who's in that lineup?
Wait, you did Cro-Mags?
A little bit, yeah.
I didn't know
John.
that.
Me either. I found
Wow.
Yeah.
2002, 2003.
03, 02.
Yeah.
Wait, 02, 03, a little bit into 05. So it turned into like Blood Clot a little bit.
Who's
so
in that lineup? Yeah.
When I started, it was AJ, me, Rocky George, and then G-Man. But the thing was, Harley knew I was playing for him because at that time, Harley, from what they told me, from what John had said, Harley just had a kid, so he needed to take some time to tend to his family. So I was just filling in. I was okay with that. I don't want to take Harley's place. This is the guy that influenced me. Like,
absolutely.
Like, there's a different kind of, for me, there's a different kind of respect. Like, you know what I mean?
And you fill those shoes too.
But to play those bass lines that I grew up learning how to play bass with the singer, like how can I not say no to?
Dude.
And then after a while, it kept going on where I kept playing for the band. I guess eventually him and John had some fallout. I stay out of that one, But and then I ended up doing that a little bit, and it turned into Blood Clot, right? And it just kind of went apart. I'm here in the West Coast, they're over there. And, it just wasn't logistically, it wasn't.
Was Todd Youth in that lineup of Blood Clot back then?
No, this lineup was with,
Joey
it was still with me, G-Man, and
Damn.
Rocky George. And then right after I left that lineup, he started that lineup with Rick from Marauder.
Oh, yeah, that's
Bobby,
right.
And then Danny from Biohazard.
Oh, yeah.
That lineup, so I left right before that lineup. And that style of music, it was
not for you.
It was, I've already heard Biohazard before.
Yeah.
I don't want to play.
Well, playing the
Biohazard
Cro-Mags
covers.
songs has been so awesome for you, learning those songs and playing those songs.
It was fun.
You already knew the songs by heart, probably.
I mean, there's some moments, man. I'm playing like some of those songs at breakneck speed, and I turn my head, and you see John just slamming his fists, like in the, how he slammed that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's fun, man. And John, John like really. He looks out for his guys, man. He's like, if you get along with the guy, he's like a big brother, man. You know what I mean? Like he was like that, So
yeah,
really cool, funny guy.
You guys tour around this U.S.
U.S. and then we did a disastrous Australia and Japan tour. I mean,
That's rough.
Yeah, it was rough. Yeah, it was. Well, from what I heard, there was two factions of the Cro-Mags. So the other faction was, threatening the promoters, and
I remember
this.
Just
all kind of something like that. So there was a lack of promotion and bad management.
Using the name, just all that stuff. Yeah.
That was my last kind of thing. And I think maybe that was my last one. And I think we did one show in, I think it's Blood Clot of Chromax in Canada with like Anthrax, some random show. Just weird things. John's well connected, so he'll just get gigs from anywhere, man. This is the dark times of hardcore. So,
what do you mean by that?
Hardcore was completely dead in 2002, man. Like, remember, it was just dead. But, Chromax and John, there was still some name, was able to carry on a little bit.
Yeah. There was a weird time back then, I guess. That's around the Go album, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because we were sort of not doing so much then, so it's really hard to keep track.
But you guys were already a little more established, too, so you can carry on a little bit. But it was still rough.
Yeah, we were touring on the record there was like probably one of the last tours around 2002 from the Go cycle. We were getting burnt too.
Yeah, and then we did the EP, and the band was sort of, we would do stuff, but it was we were not like, it was like one foot in, one foot out, and it wasn't until like Nothing to Prove, which was what,
and the truth is,
yeah,
around that time too, we were all like hitting our 30s, and I think a lot of us had a lot of thoughts in our head on where do we go with our life next. I think that a lot of that came in, because if you think about it, that was like, that's like a really pivotal time. Like, you got to really decide,
Yeah,
it's
like a hangover after a party, because like there was that point where New York hardcore, like it felt in that mid 90s period that it was sort of could have a Seattle moment. Because Seattle had happened, and all the labels were like looking for the next thing, and all the majors were like looking at the New York hardcore bands or the post-hardcore bands.
Well, I think we all thought it was going to be Quicksand Slip that was going to bring it up to the
that
and
genre. Then Civ sort of got their
True.
MTV push, and a lot of bands were getting signed to
Orange
majors.
9.
And then I think you sort of get to the other side of that, and everyone realizes, oh man, maybe we're not going to be rock stars. And then you sort of have to figure out, like, well, what's the rest of my life going to look like, right?
That's a good point, because we were signed to the same management. It was like H2O, Orange 9mm, Civ, Quicksand, with Scott McGee managed all four of us bands back then.
And he was like a giant rock manager.
Kiss manager, man.
Yeah. That was a crazy
crew.
Yeah. Damn.
And the industry's very cold like that, because you'll feel like you're in this scene where everybody is like super important, and the minute the industry realizes that they've got all the meat off the bone, they'll just drop you.
Big management will look. We got picked up by Concrete, who was doing Concrete was doing Pantera, White Rob Zombie, Anthrax. And then the lady who managed us, Sandy Borgman, she was fucking awesome.
I remember that name, yeah.
And then her assistant, Kristen Moldrick, moved on to manage Slayer. So she was good, obviously. So she just became a bigwig. But big management looking at hardcore bands.
Dude,
VOD were, people. There was a lot of hype with
there
those
was
guys
for VOD too, man. Biohazard were killing it. They had platinum record back then.
Doggy Dog in Europe were like
insane,
massive.
That was crazy.
And they treated us so nice, Doggy Dog. They were so nice to all
dudes,
of us, man.
Jersey, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Dave and John and all those guys.
So that early 2000s is sort of when the industry had moved on and everyone's just sort of left.
Kind of lingering.
Yeah, lingering and.
It's a great point.
Yeah.
So now you're done with the Chromags, and it's like 2004. Do you have a job at that point? Like, what do you? Are you done with music?
I'm still playing. I'm working, doing my work in the mortgages and stuff. And then,
did you go to school for that? Like, get into that world?
No, just got into it. So, like, right after that Chromax period, I started getting into some stuff with Scott Krause and Jorge Rosado. We did a little band called God Is I, which we demoed some stuff. It didn't go. Put up 3 songs on MySpace. That's how long it was.
MySpace, damn.
And then Scott had to move out to back to the East Coast, so that disbanded. And then we had Jorge, who also lived in the East Coast.
Yeah.
So logistics wise, it wasn't working. We had a drummer who had no drum set and no job, but he was just the most incredible fucking drummer. So we kept him. I mean, this kid was a bum. He lived without electricity sometimes in the dark. And it was just like every time we hung out, we had to feed him. But he was such a good drummer. We kept him. Yeah. But we had Jorge. We and Ben Reed was also from Earth Crisis was on second guitar too on that. And so we had Jorge. That was my idea. I was like, let's get Jorge. I'll call him and fly him out. And
that's awesome.
But he laid out some incredible tracks, but boy, that dude's crazy. Like 1,000 miles per hour, 1,000 words a second.
A lot of energy.
Yeah. But what a great guy and what a good singer.
So you're still pushing that you wanted to be a musician at that point? It's like whatever. He's kind of like
If
figuring it out.
If it happens, yeah, because I was as doing mortgages. I had a little more free time to kind of pick and choose. So I kind of did that. I dabbled a little bit, but it's definitely getting older, and you had to just do you want to bum it out or not? I don't want to bum it out, man.
Yeah,
and
have some stability and real job and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I didn't like the climate of music. Like it got so bad. Like even Metallica put out an album with no guitar solos because back then if you played guitar solos, like you were almost canceled. Like to me, that's unheard of. Like how could you cancel talent? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was just time, and touring can get rough. I got into the standard of just being at home, living my life, and then now it's like, do you want to sit in them filthy ass backstage rooms, with the stinking toilets?
Yeah.
Sure, I can do it, but it has to be worth it.
Are you doing jiu-jitsu correct back then or no?
Muay Thai.
Muay Thai,
I did
yeah.
Muay Thai for a little while, yeah. So I started that when I was old.
When you're older?
Yeah, that's a young man sport. Like you're 30, when you're 30, you're old, then you should maybe start a school. I got into it when I was 37.
37.
Yeah.
All right, so now you're in LA, you're working, and that's it. Like, you get married back then too?
I was for a little while, yeah.
Yeah.
So just that whole kind of thing.
Just trying to be like normal, like a.
Yeah, I wasn't. Music wasn't out of the picture if something came up. There was just nothing really around. I did some stuff with Scarhead that was insane.
Okay. Later on, Scarhead. Okay.
Like in 2004 with Mike the Gook and Puerto Rican Mike, Riggs. I did like 4 shows with Scarhead. That was fun. Ezec in Arizona. Did too much of something.
Yeah.
He was, that was fun. That was fun playing with Ezec again. And then that was like 14 or something. And I think I did the This Is Hardcore with Ezec. It was Sunday headlining, Crown of Thornz headline. That was kind of. I don't think that was a good show. It was not done well. It was just me and Ezec. It should have been the original lineup.
Oh, okay.
Ezec just came off a plane from Europe on that tour, and he was out of it.
Yeah,
but we did a show. But I think it was good. It was for me to play with Ezec and to see everybody, and then I think that helped Ezec re-jumpstart Crown of Thornz.
Yeah, which people really love, and like people going to their shows. A lot more young kids love Crown of Thornz as well, and like your show has been awesome lately with that lineup too.
Yeah, so now it's like it's still the original lineup with a new bass player.
Yeah, Paul Delaney's in there,
so that's good. That's good. They're doing it. Let them do their thing, and I know they did that kind of big tour, Sick of It All and stuff last year, couple of years.
The New York Hardcore.
Yeah. So I'm happy. I'm happy for them. Doing their thing.
So now you just kind of live like it's a normal life.
Normal life. I'm sometimes Chad Peterson stunt double.
Yeah, and Strife, because that's what we ran into recently. The Strife, we played with Strife for the benefit for Los Angeles. We saw you on stage, like, holy shit, Franklin's in Strife.
That's
that was
fun.
An awesome moment. Yeah.
So I do that every now and then. I think I did that. That was 6 months ago and 7 months ago, and then I did something with them like a year and a half ago. It was fun. It's fun. Every now and then I do it, blow off some steam. It's fun and it's cool.
Yeah.
I never lost it, man.
And
still playing.
And you have like no social media presence, right?
No, everyone thinks I disappeared, but I've always been living in LA in the same area. Just because I don't do social media, stop going to shows doesn't mean I disappeared.
Love that, dude. I respect that so much, man.
If I had a band or something like that,
totally.
Yeah, I would, but what? I mean, I'm going to post that I had coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on.
What's your favorite recording you've done? Which band you think it would be out of all the bands you've been in?
It's a little bit of
you're proud of.
A little bit of a mix. I mean, I didn't record with all the bands as much as I should have, like because I put in my own bass lines, and I I wish they would, like the stuff I did for 108. If I recorded Songs of Separation, wow, those bass lines would have been crazy. But I listened to Beyond Planet Earth. I'm very proud of that record because the performance, the performance on that record, just everyone was we did really good. We had a really good producer do it. Just the performance on it. It's a beautiful record. It's not a favorite Shelter record, but it's the only one that I did with them. So, I have a special connection with that. And actually, I just like the tone and the mix of that record. Like, Like if you ever listen to a record when, let's say you're driving down the freeway like 60, 70 miles per hour with all the windows down and you listen to music, the bass tone is lost. You listen to Beyond Planet Earth, you can hear every bass line. Like sonically, it's like it's a beautiful, perfect record. Like the way Tom Sawyer's engineered and mixed it, like you know, he was part of a bygone era. You know, like studio console mixes. You know, the producers. You know, and that album was a beautiful recording, and also Train Yard Blues, because some of my best bass lines, just, you know, especially like the title song Crown of Thorns, that's me, man.
Yeah.
Those bass lines really represent me. Like all 5 of my favorite bass players, the influences they're in that song.
That's amazing.
In each little section. So those 2 records, you know, would definitely.
I was just realizing, because I remember you weren't on the Mansion record, but you were in the photo.
Yeah,
I talked about that.
Yeah, so that's just weird, because we had
right after.
It was Dave DeCenzo who played drums. It was sort of like a session situation. So really, when we did the Mantra photo shoot, there were only 3 people in the band.
It's crazy.
Which was Raghunath Parmananda and myself, and we needed a 4th guy. And then there's that weird photo shoot of Ray jumping.
Yes.
With Ben Kenny.
Which is Ben Kenny, who didn't play a show with us, but he's in the picture anyway, and that photo's sort of everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah. But actually, so I got a copy of Mantra that you're on. So there's a Mantra version that has the B-sides for Here We Go Again. It has the Beatles cover, We Can Work It Out, and it has the Progressive Man. And that's actually Franklin playing bass on those 2.
And Mackie on drums.
And yeah, it is Mackie on drums. That's right, Mackie on drums.
Played drums on Progressive Man, the re-recording.
Yeah, and the Beatles cover.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
and Mackie played the drums with a broken hand because he had just gotten into a fight with Paris Mayhew the night before.
Yeah, I was there.
After a show.
I was at the show.
I was there too.
Oh, that was a crazy thing in Boston.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
we don't need to go into the outcome, but yes,
my wife has photos though, by the way.
And we actually were also there when a former bandmate who will remain nameless headbutted Mackie.
Damn.
A former Cro-Mag.
So me and Adam, we saw. We're not going to go over the outcome, but it's known. Him and Harley went at it also. Same, it was just the whole thing with John, and we don't need to go to the outcome. But yeah, we got to witness crazy things like that.
No, dude.
Like Cro-Mags fighting each other, like right in front. I'm not talking like 12 feet away. I'm talking like 1 foot away.
Ringside, baby.
I never brought this up. We can edit if you want, but me and Adam talk about it too off the pod. There was a time during 2 things. When did Mackie leave Shelter? Oh, way after you guys, or
no? So Mackie left Shelter.
No, he left before.
He left before. Yeah, he left. Mackie's last tour with Shelter was the winter
Europe
of '95, January, February. That was a
freezing.
That was a big tour, man. Yeah. That was a big tour, right? Remember, it was a long.
Yeah.
Those Shelter tours that Mackie did with us, they were long tours. Like there was the Earth Crisis tour we did. We left mid-September. The last show was December 26th at the Trocadero. I remember that show. We went home for 1 day for Christmas, and then we came back to do that show with you guys.
Oh yeah,
at the Trocadero. Damn. And that was the last show with Earth. Yeah, that Earth Crisis when they got into that accident.
Yeah.
We ended up hating each other on that tour because we were just together for so long. That was the truth.
And you were in Shelter when they had the accident too?
I was in Shelter when in the accident in '97. Yeah, I was the one that hailed help. I don't know. Somehow I managed to climb up the cliff and I hailed help. Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
And that was like Salt Lake Denver Drive or something.
It was that was a tour when Beyond Planet Earth first came out, and the label was trying to promote us as a fucking ska band. So they put us on tour with like Goldfinger and another band. So we drove all the way to Arizona. That was a 40-hour drive.
This is a legendary story because we still don't like to take that drive. We'd rather fly because we think about what happened to you guys.
Right. So we drove straight to Arizona, nonstop. So already we're tired. So we get to Ray's sister's house and we stay over there. And then we play a show in Arizona the next night. And then from Arizona, I think we drove to like San Diego, which is not bad. And from San Diego to like Vegas. And
crazy routing, dude.
And then from Vegas to like Salt Lake or Denver. But we had to drive after the show each night. It was like that.
Brutal.
So one day after the Vegas show, I think it was, we're just sleeping, right? And next thing you know, I find myself tumbling in midair like I'm in a washing machine with equipment
out the window, or just in the van.
Equipment just beating on me at this, and everyone's screaming. It was like being in a washing machine, and I felt the whole van just I felt it, man, that gravity or whatever, just you're falling, and I felt it fall.
Are people screaming? It's just like
everyone's screaming at the top of their lungs, and it's pitch
dude.
black. It's utter chaos. We woken up out of our sleep, and then the van just lands, and I kind of feel it just bouncing off the ground, boom, boom, and there's guitars floating in the water. The roof is torn off, like everything's all over the place, and I hear Purcell screaming, blood curdling at the top of his lungs. Hurry, Krishna! Like blood curdling for his fucking life,
shit,
man.
Dude.
Blood curdling. And I'm just like, oh, dude. And I look down and Capo is unconscious and he's got blood on his head. I'm like, Ray. And he's not responding. I'm like, dude, I got to get help. I crawl out the window, man. I'm struggling. My spine is fractured. I crawl out, and this is like 2:30 in the morning, pitch black, and somewhere in the Rocky Mountains. I was told it was like 375 foot worth of cord that I had to use. So with that distance, we fell, and then I somehow got up there, and then there was like a dump truck, full of like migrant paisas,
Mm-hmm.
and and they must have been scared hell because I'm like this, like waving my hands, all blood, clothes are torn up, covered in blood. I'm like, you gotta help. Their phone didn't work, so I was like, all right. And then a truck came and he called us help, and then that's when the ambulances came. The roadie had to get choppered because he snapped his neck and femur.
Oh my god!
19-year-old kid.
Dude.
He wanted to be a tattoo artist. He healed. He's a tattoo artist now.
Oh,
so
that's
he healed.
fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's like a straight edge kid from Long Island named Will, and then
Were people still in their seatbelts? Or at that point, everybody's out of the van? Like,
just the two people in the front wearing their seatbelts, and nothing happened to them.
holy
Just maybe a sprain. And then they put me in the ambulance in the front, and then they sectioned me off. And behind me was Ray and Purcell. I'm in a neck brace. I just can't talk. I don't have it in me anymore. And you can hear Ray and Purcell whispering, "We didn't see Franklin. We didn't hear him. You think he's dead?" And I'm hearing this, and I'm just too out of it to even answer. I'm just like, whatever, man. They'll figure it out. And yeah, it was like that, man. It was horrible, man. It was
nightmarish, man.
Oh my god!
For like 6 months I couldn't sleep in silence. Like,
Dude, I remember hearing about that. We were on tour. We heard
Yeah.
about that.
It's fucking crazy, man. Everybody
Right.
survived,
Yeah.
and
and
obviously the tour's over at that point. Everybody's just like,
we're out of it, man.
how long are you guys in the hospital for?
We were in
Who
the
was the
hos-
worst?
Okay,
The
besides
19-year-old kid with this.
yeah, and then in the band, I think maybe Purcell had it the worst. He fractured some vertebrae like I did, and I think he chipped a tooth, and he got beat up, and then he might have got it the worst, and me and Ray were kind of on par, just different injuries.
You guys all in the same hospital?
Yeah, we ended
That's
up in the
good.
same hospital, and then we all flew back home. Like Roadrunner were nice enough; they flew us back
All
first
together,
class and
flew you
all
guys
that.
home?
Yeah.
It was like black ice or something. Who knows what happened? Just ice or something.
Oh no, it was summertime, so
Oh fuck!
literally the driver blinked. He fell asleep. He nodded off for a
Holy
second and missed the
shit.
guardrail. So he swerved right before the guardrail. So if there was a guardrail, different story.
Holy shit!
Yeah, but we didn't. That was it. But that was our accident. I think I heard Candiria got into an accident and made off like fat rats. Not
Yeah.
us. We got a hospital.
We were on tour
bill
and
stage.
Saves the Day. Got in an accident on black ice. That was scary too, man. Remember that, Adam?
Yeah. We went off the road a few times on buses. I mean,
dude.
too, if you spend enough time on the road, you're going to have...
Well, remember
stuff happen.
Adam on the Earth Crisis tour? Earth Crisis got into that back accident. We told him not to drive, and
Yep.
and then remember we almost got into the accident. Do you remember the van jackknifed on the
I
ice?
do.
And
I do.
With the trailer?
Yes, and it started going on its own, like 30 miles per hour, and we were holding a chain because we were trying to push the van, and then all of a sudden it started going on its own. So me, Adam, Purcell, Mackie, we're holding a human chain and pulling each other into the van. Yeah, Mackie was part of that too.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
dude.
So that was gnarly.
Damn! Thank you for sharing that. I think stories have been shared by any of the other
Crazy,
guys on it
yeah.
before. It's a crazy story.
But
man.
yeah, that's those accidents were gnarly. But yeah, after that we didn't want to take a van. It's like we just no.
It was buses after that.
And the label was like, yeah, we'll put you guys in a bus. Of course, you guys are gonna pay for it later on. But
Damn. Can you look? I mean, obviously you got caught the moment out there, like being caught up, and like looking back on it now, like your career, all the stuff you've done, the stuff. Like, I'm sure it's you're proud of all the stuff you achieved and everything in music.
Yeah. I mean,
it's easy to get jaded and burned and all the different things you've been through, but like,
yeah. I mean, I'm the type of guy to, you know, let's say we were all in a car accident and our car landed at the bottom of a fucking cliff and there's no one here to rescue us. Sure, I'll be pissed, but eventually I'll start cracking jokes. So I can, you know, you got to take the good. I mean, all those memories with Shelter. Yeah, there was some bad, you know, but it wasn't. It was stuff that me and Ray had disagreed upon, and we always talked it over. Like, he's a friend, you know what I mean?
That's cool.
Like we always talked it over, man. And you know, that's just business stuff, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But those memories in the band, like, I mean, it was for me, for Ray, for Adam, for Purcell. Even though those guys had a few more years over us, that experience, it was a first-time experience for all of us. So that was something like we all shared, like that big production, you know, that was new, man. And
the highs and the lows, man.
And I still was able to carry those memories with me to this day, and I'm able to work a job because there's people, you know, there's a lot of people from our generation. They're bitter, man, because they never got to do it. The bands never took off.
Or they never took a chance. They
never took a chance, or it didn't fan out. They're bitter, or they stopped. They just
for everything.
Yeah, or they completely disappeared and don't even listen to music anymore.
Yes,
and I'm not like that, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm proud to talk about it. I always think to myself, man, if I die at any moment, I have those memories. Like, I got to be in the very magazines that I grew up to listening to.
Yeah.
Like with the metal bands and the labels, and you know, even though it was short-lived, but still, you can't buy that with money, man.
No,
all the
man.
stuff we did,
It's incredible, man.
you know. And then the friendships get bonded too. Like,
yes,
like we were always friends, but then you and I, like we were always just guys that went to shows, right? Like all those shows, or those Amnesty shows and all that.
Yeah.
But we just eventually we formed bands, and I did that tour with you with H2O, Downset, Shelter.
Yeah.
That was one of the best tours I've ever experienced in my life,
tour,
man. You the bonds like that, man. You don't
forever, dude.
Yeah, they're forever.
That's
man.
what's special about this music and this community and where we come from and the scene and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Right. Like this, people like Frosty from Man Will Surrender. I ran into him randomly, but it was like we toured together. So I hadn't seen him in decades, but
he's always at the shows out here.
Yeah,
I think so.
But I ran into him, and it was like yesterday.
Yeah,
you know, because we toured together.
Seeing you at that other show, I mean, yeah,
that was awesome.
I mean, I don't want to be here if he wasn't for Shelter, because Shelter got him to the States, and that's how we met.
Absolutely, ultimately net positive, huge net positive in my life, like being a part of Shelter, and those guys bringing me out and putting me in the band is.
I say the same thing.
So much good things have come from it.
Yeah, all that stuff in Jackson Heights with my parents separating. It led to this, man.
Yeah.
You know, had my parents stayed together and we were still in like Forest Hills or whatever, I would have been some oppressed, bitter college graduate working a job. Maybe I'd have more money and more assets or something. Who knows? But I wouldn't.
The life experience you wouldn't have, and the memories and all that
stuff. The kind of stuff I would be told.
You'd be still looking at the magazines, not being there.
I went to spring break in Miami and had beer. You know, that would be that would have been my podcast for when I was. But now it's this kind of stuff. You know,
I mean, it's a lot of crazy stories. We're all connected through it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm grateful for Shelter because I'm grateful for Adam in my life, my brother, and H2O and all that stuff. You know?
No, these are friendships. Like even to this day, like Ray, Vic, I'm still friends with. These are dear friends, man. Like I've maintained friendship with all the people that I've been in bands with too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to be not be in those bands and still have that relationship.
Definitely.
Not ending on bad terms. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I went to see Shelter last year. It was cool.
Are you trying to make more music now in your life? You just kind of whatever happens.
Whatever happens. I do have a bucket list of stuff I want to put out. Like I'm kind of at the point like there's a part of me where I feel like I want to put some recordings out because I feel like my playing has never really been captured properly. Like you know real, you know like the way I lay down bass lines and stuff. But at the same time, you know nothing to prove. I did all this. So when it comes out, you know, if anything, you know, I recorded a few stuff here and there on my own, you know, and I've spoken to a few people here and there. So we'll see. The music it's still in me. I don't have any issues writing. I can write anything on the spot. It's in me. I'm still a fan. Do
you pay attention to new hardcore bands and stuff like that? Are you in the mix like that? You're not on social media, so it's probably
a little
hard.
bit. I mean, beyond like Back to Godhead and Invocation, those are two.
Yeah, I know
you know, they're kind of new, a little more established, but those are like two newer bands that I really wow, fucking love them.
Yeah.
Like really, really, like, they're carrying that, that the flame for Krishna core, which I'm always going to support. And yeah, so Back to Godhead, Invocation, awesome bands.
Do you know about bands like Turnstile and these other bands happening now?
It's funny with Turnstile, like they're huge.
They're on Roadrunner too.
They're huge, and I watched some footage of them. It was like older footage. I can think for 15. I was like, okay, I can see why kids got into them. And then I started watching other footage, and the more recent the footage got, the less I got into it. I guess this style became more mainstream. I don't know, but yeah, their older stuff I definitely got into, and then. Oh, there was some fucking New York hardcore band. I don't know what they were called. Talking to Loki.
There's a bunch now, like Painted Truth, Mind Force, Combust. There's like so many bands.
There was
now.
one band. They were. I don't know if they're B&B related or something, but this band was awesome. I don't remember what the hell they were called. They were kind of like the harder thuggish style, but it was just done really well. So yeah, I catch hardcore stuff like I don't really watch TV. I watch a lot of YouTube, and most of it's spent watching videos.
Okay.
So stuff pops up, and then when something pops up, like I caught some really awesome stuff. Was it Friday night? Sick of It All in 1990 at the Rat. Oh man, like it was a handheld, but you could see each guy and the sound. Yeah. Oh man. Dude.
So you're watching old videos and stuff like that.
Oh, man, I love it, man.
You're such an interesting person because you're totally off the grid. Like, people are going to bug out when they hear this conversation. Nobody knows where you've been and what you're doing. But you're still in the mix in your own little world.
Yeah,
it's awesome, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've always
pop up here and there.
Yeah, and I've always kept in touch with people. Like Andrew's a guy I've always kept in touch with. He's like, I can walk to his pad, stuff like that.
But seeing you at that show, that made us so happy.
Me too.
We were more excited about seeing you than the actual show because we saw you there, and then after catching up with you.
When Andrew told me you were coming, I was like, I couldn't believe it. Because I feel like I had seen you, like we went through some shit, like a very intense period of our lives.
Together.
And I hadn't seen you in probably 20 years at that point.
But all these friendships, like Toby, you hadn't seen in like 10 years, but every time I see anybody, it's always like yesterday. There's never any weirdness.
Yes.
Because there never was any weirdness to begin with.
Yep.
It was always just, you know what I mean?
Always love, yeah.
Just anybody, even like Tim Ensign, like I asked you about it. Like how often do I see that guy? But every time I bump into him, just random, man.
It's the faces from our world, from our youth and just the music and everything.
It's the scene definitely stays with you.
Yeah, and I'm very, very much a fan. But what really disappointed me about New York hardcore was that most of the bands they never went past 1 or 2 albums, man. And like I always wanted more from these bands. And that was the only thing. Like the metal bands were always, they don't stop putting out albums. And the New York
Sick of It All makes a lot of albums, like Agnostic Front.
But like GB, like we only got 1 album from them. Like, damn, I wanted more.
Perfect.
I know.
It's so perfect.
Chromax, it was sporadic. Chromax in their career, they should have put out more than 4 or 5 albums. Like these bands or these.
But better than anybody, both you guys, like members and getting along and all that stuff. It's hard sometimes to keep people the same lineup. I pride myself on us being a pretty much original lineup for like over 20 years,
Well, let me tell you about that because I always tell people like my first love was thrash, right? And my first heartbreak was the breakup of my first band, Show of Force. That was my first heartbreak because I thought bands were all for one, one for all, forever brotherhoods. Because all my favorite bands, had those consistent lineups, but I realized these bands with original consistent lineups, they're very rare. That's probably like 1%.
Yeah.
So
Good point.
So that was a big heartbreak for me and a big eye opener. I realized, all right, man, these bands, we're not always on the same page.
Yeah, man, it's hard, man. We've been 30 years, man. I'm very, very lucky, man. Like we hang out, we talk all the time. People trip out that H2O hang out off stage and we talk and.
Right, like Sick of It All.
Brotherhood, man. Same.
I so admire that what they that's why they're successful. It's like a Metallica, Slayer, Anthrax. They all have like consistent,
Yep.
But
then also like money and business and managers all get in the way of all like the original friendships and the reason why you started the band in the first place. We've been through all that, but me and Amber managed the band for like 15 years now, and like we've always split the money equally with the band, songwriting, all that shit.
I mean, you start in a basement, right, and then eventually you get bigger and bigger, and more hands get involved. And if you achieve any kind of success, then there's people that want to get a piece of that pie.
Right.
And it can get real confusing.
Yeah, that's like the worst part of being the band. I think all the business and the labels and all the shit we dealt with in the 90s, that was the worst part of like all the stress, extra shit.
It sucked.
Yeah.
That definitely jaded me. Also, the business side of all the stuff that happened with Shelter, whether it was with the label or with the band or anything, like Shelter got fucked over left and right too. Like I remember like showing up to a festival, setting up merch, and the label's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing? You can't set up your own merch. We're selling your merch through Blue Grape."
Oh, that's right. Blue Grape was back then.
Just shit like that, man. You get jaded, man, and so yeah, there was definitely some jadedness to it, but the music started eventually coming back. But like my little time in Strife, that was a very special time for me because we were like kind of equal in age, and I definitely that was a brotherhood, that little band. Crown Thornz too, that was short lived, but Strife, like on that tour, we were brothers, all for one for all, and that was like one of the most funnest,
And you and Ezec been boys from the jump, even like way back then.
Yeah, I mean the first time.
Is it true like the first one never to back down from him or something, or no?
Huh?
Like the first person like never like to not back down from Ezec or something.
I know he did. Well, I know he.
Shout out to Ezec.
Well, the first time I met him, he wanted to roll up on me.
Okay. On some graffiti shit.
It was like a thing like I guess I jumped his friend or whatever, or I threw in a sucker punch when his friend was getting jumped. But so I was on Northern Boulevard and I was gonna go meet a friend of mine, right? She lived across the street, like a punk rock girl from school, like just a cool friend. And so I went on the payphone to say, hey, I'm downstairs, and there's some guy running up the block going, hey, there's a lot of commotion, Northern Boulevard. I thought it was a guy maybe asking me for directions, so I walk up to him, right? And then he goes, yo, man, you tried to jump my friend. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And he, yo, you just tried to jump he pushed me, and he just like kind of like swinging his hand. I'm like kind of swerving, and then JM runs up, and I recognize JM because I hang out with his, JM. Yeah. I hung out with his brother Andreas, and you hear JM go, Danny, stop! I know that guy. As soon as he said that, Danny just walks away, like as if nothing happened. I'm just like...
And that was your first interaction with him?
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Wow.
I was like, Danny, I've heard of this guy. And I was thinking...
He called me Hebrew Hammer when he worked at Relativity.
Right, but in my head, I was like, it's this skinhead guy named Danny Singer. That must be the guy, because this guy is a skinhead. So I put two and two together. And then I meet this girl, this girl to go hang out with her, and I tell her, this guy named Danny Singer, girl named Christine, right, a good friend of mine too, and she goes, yeah, he's my ex. I was like, what?
Wow.
I'm like, do you know this guy? But she was like, she only had good things to say about him, so I'm just like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, fuck, this guy just tried to like, who is this fucking guy? And then I go to band rehearsal, show of force, and I ask the singer, Randy, I'm like, this guy Danny Singer, do you know him? Because he tried to roll up on me. I'm gonna go throw a brick in his fucking window tomorrow night or something. And he's like, no, man, that's my boy, man. He's cool. I'm gonna talk to him. I'm gonna tell him, man, we're in the same band. So he tells Danny like, yo, that's my friend. So then just let it go, right? But the thing is, that summer I became friends with Harry from 25 to Life. And now we're hanging out at JM's house every day during the summer. So I'm hanging out with Ezec every day during the summer, like 5-6 different people, but we don't talk to each other. We don't shake each other's hands. And this went on for a whole summer.
Wow.
There was never any bad blood. Like the whole time I'm thinking, yeah, this is kind of stupid. And he's probably thinking this too, but we're just not talking to each other. And then one day Harry goes, Ezec said, because even though you jumped his friend, he still has to respect you because he heard your demo and he thinks you're a good bass player. So immediately in the back of my head, I just said, as soon as I see him, I'm just going to shake his hand because this guy, he just seems like a cool dude. And we became friends ever since then, summer of 1990.
Amazing, dude.
Fucking hanging out with him and Narc every day. I met Narc in 1989.
Damn.
So I know these, yeah.
When I lived in Jackson Heights, at Gwilla Biscuit's house in 1988, we used to see Ezec as a skinhead stocking all the shelves. He worked at Seatown. He had like boots and braces on. We're like, who's this little skinhead? He was the little skinny kid at the fucking grocery
With
store.
one tattoo, yeah.
Bro, then he became, all of a sudden, you see him at the shows, and he worked at Relativity. And then we met each other selling CDs because I used to steal CDs from where I worked, and he did too. We sold them at the same record store. That's how we met.
Were you working at Roadrunner Records?
I don't want to say on the
Did you sell the CDs at Generation Records?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
And I worked at Concrete Marketing, and Julian from Still Suit Works, and we all met up places. That's how we met, just selling CDs.
Okay, so that's where Ezec got the job from Relativity, and my boss at Relativity Records when we were doing the record CD heist, like all of us were.
The CD heist?
We're jacking CDs.
Yeah,
just
of course.
My boss, and I hated this guy's guts at the time, was Mike Scorsese from Vietnam. So I met him before everybody else.
Mike Scorsese was your boss?
So Mike Scorsese from Vietnam.
Wow.
So I was 17. We're working in the warehouse. There's no air conditioning in the warehouse. Mike Scorsese would show up to work every day. High tops, skin tight, ripped jeans, a mullet, and no shirt. And he would just sit on the desk with his feet up. And the reason why I hated Mike Scorsese, and he would always joke about it, the reason why I hated his guts was, when you work there, we're packing the boxes and we stash our CDs on the side to steal during our breaks,
Yeah.
Steal one batch during lunch break, and then when you get out, I know we shouldn't be saying this on public. It's all fiction.
We can edit. Mama, can you shut the door, Mama, the kitchen?
No, it's fine.
I'm editing.
But it's okay. But the reason why I ended up hating this fucking guy was every time I'd come back from the bathroom, my stash would be gone because Mike Scorsese would steal my stash to steal it because I took all the good stuff.
Oh,
and
shit.
he'd see me looking around for my stash, and he'd be laughing like, every day. And then he'd see me just fuming, man. Like, I picked this stash out. Like, I handpicked these things, man.
For it?
Or what I would keep, like, all the good stuff. And so that's how I met Mike Scorsese, and we became friends after him and Ezec became friends. Like, it just all goes back.
Was Chalk in the mix too back then?
It's funny. He was...
Because you brought Ezec to his first show.
Chaka?
Yeah.
From Burn.
Supposedly, yeah.
I never knew that. And the thing is as big of a figure that, Chaka is, is well known.
Yeah.
I've never met the guy.
Holy shit, that's crazy.
There's one or two people once in a while that never crossed paths with. Yeah, like him, like I've never met him.
That's wild, man.
Yeah, despite,
Crazy. I've been talking about this late in the podcast with people. You know what gatekeeping is? It's kind of a cringy word people talk about. Just like the older heads like us, like what we think about hardcore.
Sure.
Like you would never been like that. Like, that's not hardcore. This isn't hardcore. Like your perception is different than other kids' perceptions, right? Like the generation now, what they think is hardcore is different than how we grew up. Do you know what I'm saying? There's like a whole thing with older heads being like, because I talked with Hoya, it's like when Madball first came out, the older heads like, oh, you're too bouncy. You're too rap. This isn't hardcore. And we came out, we were too melodic. So like I'm talking about the older heads.
Oh,
like,
no, I don't.
You don't listen to stuff that's not hardcore. Like the new shit I'm talking about.
I mean, I know it's easy to think like that because we know, we grew up with what we grew up with, but I have to understand that it's a younger generation.
It's 2025.
Like without mentioning names, I know sometimes you get some figures in the hardcore scene, like old school guys. For some reason, I don't understand why we should get damned or cursed for being born 10 or 15 years later.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
Sometimes we get cursed like that.
Totally.
And I don't understand why. Like, we're big fans of yours. We're here because of you.
Yes.
Why would you curse us simply because we were born in Queens or 10, 15 years later after your first album came out? Like, that's just... It just happened. So no, I don't think like that.
Yeah, because I had kids in the pod this week. They're all born in 1993 and 94, and they're from the New York hardcore scene. But it's just we're so many generations different now.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
You would love somebody. Like, so Toby's he's like my dealer. He sends me like the new hardcore bands to check out. And dude, you would love the new bands. Like a lot of these bands, like it's cool because like I feel like when we were young, it was like you were metal or you were hardcore. And at this stage, like kids are listening to all of it. So they're making this like it's thrash metal, but it's also like hardcore at point. It's like it's amazing. You'd really. I
want to say some shit.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
A lot of leeway influence stuff. Yeah. A lot of stuff like that. Yeah,
like way more technical than you think.
But one thing I did notice was I got a little. I don't want to say turned off from hardcore, but like it didn't do much. There was a certain era that didn't do much for me. A lot of the vocalists started sounding the same. They were all like Freddie or Jamie, kind of clones that
oh yeah, people try but they
gruff,
can't. Yeah.
And too much of that. Whereas if you come from our generation, each band had a different, very distinct style and vocalist. H2O, nobody else sounded like H2O. Nobody had a singer like Crown of Thornz. 25 to Life at the time had their own singer. Madball had its own style. Lou sang in Sub-Zero his own style.
Oh yeah.
Jorge, like each band had a different style. But I remember that after like Hatebreed and Madball started becoming big, every band kind of started having those same kind of vocals, and you started, it's like, okay, which band is this? It started sounding like that a little bit.
It's a good point. It's true. There was a time in there.
So that kind of thing, I know you can only do so much.
Yeah.
There's only so many variations, but that's the only thing that maybe turned me off a little bit. But I noticed things have been started to originalize a little more.
There's a thing now where they want to give respect and pay homage to the originators, but they want to do it in their own flavor. Like the 3 bands I'm naming is Mind Force, Combust, and Pain of Truth. You'll love all 3.
I've heard of Mind Force. Okay.
Yeah, and he's got a very leeway vibe, and he's like 45 years old. He's a school teacher, like lives upstate New York. But they're paying homage, but they're not biting. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
yes. They're showing the respect, and a lot of it is a lot of Crown of Thornz influence, man. 100%.
Really?
Yeah, it's really. I'm gonna turn you on to some cool shit.
I'd like to hear that because, like, if I were to write a song that sounded like Crown of Thornz, I don't know how I would, because that Train Yard Blues, it's a unique.
It's very unique.
It's unique.
It's like one of a kind painting.
Yeah, it's a weird, like, it's just it's as close. If you want to categorize it, I guess New York hardcore. It would be as close as you can categorize it, but that's still just too vague.
Yeah.
It's got, it's a weird record, man.
But it kind of a game changer in that sound and then guitar playing of Dijon and the song, the leads, and I don't know, the vibe of the record is very different. But I think it's inspired a lot of bands for sure.
Yeah.
But it wasn't your typical New York hardcore, you know what I mean? Just like we weren't. We came out.
Yeah, that was the thing in the 90s. Everyone was doing their own. Everyone had their own sound. Each band sounded different, like Marauder, H2O, you know what I mean?
But now this generation, they have their own style too. I went to this festival last weekend, Sound of Fury. Me and Matt Henderson, we're like the oldest guys there, but we're watching all the bands perform. We're like, you know what? This is their Madball. This is their time. We had our time. This is like. But
you mean like where they would fit into the pantheon, but not sound-wise, right? They
exactly.
have a unique sound.
Exactly.
And then there's a whole scenes, man, in like the Philippines and Indonesia.
Oh,
I love it, man.
It's crazy.
I love
over
that,
there.
man. I love it, man.
Big straight edge scene over there too, for
man.
sure. Yeah.
I want to start seeing African kids in Uganda wearing Sick of It All shirts. It's gonna happen, man. It's just
especially with the internet too.
Yeah, it's gonna happen in decades. I even saw like. Back in MySpace or something, like fucking hardcore, like a few hardcore kids in Nepal, like Kathmandu, like
damn,
that's fucking cool, man.
No, it's crazy how far it's come and how it's thriving today, 2025, and how many years like we've been in the mix through it.
Yeah,
it's wild. Something that you could like write and record in a basement 30 years ago just lives on and somehow touches someone and takes them in a direction.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. Yeah, I guess
we're always going to be big hardcore kids, regardless if you're not playing in music anymore. Like we're talking about it right now, and we get excited talking about it. You know what I'm saying? It's something we carry with us forever.
Oh, bro,
it's a spirit, man.
To this day, I still watch.
We're just watching Sick of It All. Fucking.
To this day, I repeatedly watch footage of the Icemen There's some footage of the Icemen from City Gardens and Karl Marsh, man. The way he's dancing, I'm just like, oh man. Because he was known as like one of the best slam dancers.
He is, and I'm gonna say it again. I did 3 pods last week, and every single kid from that band mentioned Iceman or Dynamo as a major influence.
Okay,
and nobody's ever mentioned Iceman on my podcast till you're the 4th person in a week.
Well,
they don't get enough credit.
Karl Marsh, he's I miss him very much. He was a very good friend of mine. Him and I became good friends at 26 2nd Avenue.
Okay.
That summer, I became friends. That summer I became friends with him, and I started becoming friends with Ray Capo at that time, Raghunath. That summer, and I remember Carl was always at those programs, and after those programs, we would just hang out 2-3 hours. Sometimes just walk around the Lower East Side, or sometimes just in front of the temple after they closed the doors. Just talking life and music for 2-3 hours. That guy was so cool, man. And I love the Icemen too, man. That was respect.
I think it's a really underrated band from New York.
And I miss that guy, man. I know they, the Icemen, they raced his tracks and all that, right? Those later recordings, they did some stuff. I don't know what happened, but he was a big part of that band too.
Did you like Dynamo too, his other band after that?
the truth is everything he did was really good.
That's how I was told.
He was a guy that he knew for Dynamo, I've seen him play drums. I've seen him singing and play bass at the center. He was a dude that can play any instrument.
Very underrated in the New York hardcore scene, I think.
Yeah, I miss that guy.
It's like a small amount of people that even know that.
Yeah,
you know?
I miss Saab too. He's another one that went.
Yeah.
I saw him in a dream.
Really?
Yeah, I never told anyone this many years ago, and it was weird, man. So
was he talking to you in the dream? Or?
Yeah. So this is weird. So Saab and I were good friends too, right? Back in the day, I had almost joined Marauder and stuff too, and I saw him. This is while Ezec was out here, all the crew of guys was out here, everyone, and I saw him in a fucking dream, and I'm sure it was him because, according to certain philosophical beliefs and mine too, if you die from suicide or from drug or from an OD, you don't go to your place of destination. It's known, generally you're kind of in purgatory. You have to live out the duration in there until you've reached that number of years until it's your day. I saw Saab. I don't know what I was doing there. I have no idea because I was not dead at the time. I saw Saab at a subway station. The subway, I think it was like 7th Avenue subway station. I feel like it was. And he was just standing there, like all kind of skinny with his hands in his pocket. And he's just like kind of looking at me with that smile, like that skeleton smile, like, yo, what's up, man? I'm like, Saab, what's up, man? Long time no see. And you could tell he was just standing there waiting there was no subways and no pedestrians, almost like a Matrix-like thing. Felt like that was purgatory.
Just waiting for his time, yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, yeah, man,
it's heavy.
I'm still in the West Coast. Ezec's in the West Coast. The whole crew guys out here. And he's like, yeah, man, that's cool. And then the dream kind of just ended. You know how dreams are weird like that?
Yeah.
I never told that to anyone, but I feel like I saw him because that felt like he was in purgatory.
Wow.
But yeah,
man.
I think of him often. I think of that.
I didn't
guy
know how
often.
he passed. I didn't know there was like drugs or overdose. Or
Yeah, that's what I heard. But I think of him often too. Like that was a cool guy, man. He's like, hardcore guy.
He was an ill dancer too.
Yeah, and he loved metal and yeah.
Maybe you can answer this question because I brought up in the other pod and I hit Chalk about it. As far as like the spiritual dancing, like not windmilling like the kids are doing now in the kickboxing. Gingy from Absolution was probably one of the first people I saw, like in '88, where he was dancing, where was throwing his legs and arms at a show.
I've seen that. Do
you know what I'm saying? I don't say he originated because I know John Watson did some stuff too, but Chaka told me that his major influence for dancing was Gingy, and he did do that spiritual thing where it's like your arms are spinning, but it's not crowd killing, what they call it now. It's not hurting people.
Yeah, I've seen those Gingy
you know what I'm talking
dances
about,
and
like
photos.
his arms and his legs are going. Because he was like a black belt too. He was like a fighter.
Gingy, so when I first started training martial arts in New York, Gingy was in my class.
Okay.
And Gingy's a capoeirista, so he practiced capoeira, and I think he'd been practicing it for a long time. So he probably which is a Brazilian martial art that looks like a dance. So
and he's got like long limbs too, if I remember. Yeah, I remember those photos.
So I wasn't around back when Gingy was dancing, but it's very possible that he brought some of the capoeira influence in.
I'll put that in my notes too.
Okay. Yeah, John Watson was known as one of the best singers. Minus was his violence dancer, right? He was on the cover of the Sick of It All album cover, right?
Yeah, so was Fern, so was Saab, so was Jorge.
You know who got legendary from an album cover?
Who?
Gus Straight Edge.
Oh yeah,
he was on the cover of the New York hardcore,
right? And Ezec,
and everybody's like, "Who's that guy?" And I remember meeting him, being like, "You're the guy from the album cover."
And Ezec is on the cover of Agnostic Front Last Morning live album.
Oh really?
The 1992 CBGBs. He's on that. I believe his face is on there.
Rico's on Blood Sweat with Jorge, with Minus, with Walter.
Wow.
In the pit on the cover of Blood Sweat No Tears.
Wow.
There was some wild dancers. Saab was a wild dancer too, man. Scary. Kevin too. Kevin Sia.
Dude, yeah, he that guy.
Scary. I mean, Kevin Boldo, scary dude.
I mean, this is like a 300-pound violent guy doing stage. Like he hurt people, man.
He's scary, man. Were you ever like a dancer, like a mosher, like later on?
A little bit, but I'll tell you an incident. It was of course I got into it a little bit too, and I wanted to learn it more. But what stopped me was, and I think about it to this day. It was in '89. It was at a Voivod show. I got into the pit, and then someone slammed into me, and my pinky dislocated, and it's jutted out horizontally.
Holy shit.
And I freaked out. I never panicked in my life. I saw it and I started violently slamming my hand against my leg and it went back into place. And I said to myself, I'll never be able to play in a band again if this happens. And
that was your beginning and end of
I was
motion?
like, that's my hands. Yeah, I was serious about it.
Wow, dude.
I was very serious about playing bass, man.
So you never moshed or dived again?
Not really, nah.
Holy shit.
But my mindset really was more, I wanted to be in a band.
Yeah, dude, for
So
sure.
I would go to these shows to really soak up the band. I would watch them.
Mm-hmm.
I'd watch for
Study it.
Yeah, I'd watch for everything, how they interact with each other. Like, oh, these two guys, they don't really talk. They don't really like, but these two guys are talking. I would watch everything, and who I did that for the most is Tony Bono from Into Another. Him, whenever Into Another would play, I would try to find a spot next to the bass cabinet and have my ear as close to as possible and my hands to his eyes, because he's one of my top 5 influential bass players. He's so underrated.
Damn.
He's one of the most incredible
player.
bass players you'll ever hear that have ever walked the earth. And that's one guy, every time he played, I would just sit there and try to watch it. And then after the show, Hoya was at every Into Another show, because just like me, he jocked that bass player too, man.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah, Hoya was all over it, man. And we would just be like, dude, this bass, like, yeah.
I never heard that guy be mentioned before. It's super underrated. I
Tony
guess.
Bono?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's from Whiplash.
Okay,
which an OG thrash band.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's from Whiplash, and Into Another, they don't even sound the same anymore, because he was that foundation. Like, but that was my biggest. He's like, that's the guy I try to emulate playing. Like him and Harley, you'll hear my playing the most.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and a little, of course, my own whatever, but those two.
Damn.
Yeah.
There's a random question. Do you have any regrets in your life?
Yeah, I think I do. I know people say don't have regrets, but every mistake I make, I do. I regret it. Yeah, just for anything. Just across the board, from relationships to musical moves to anything. Yeah, I don't think it's a negative thing. Sometimes you learn from it, and it keeps you from making that same mistakes. So yeah, many. Yeah. Of course, just random across the board stuff. Yeah.
What about sobriety? You a sober guy now or no?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Like, I'm not a huge drinker. If drinking, I would, people say they're social drinkers. I'd call myself more of the culinary drinker.
Okay.
If I drink, usually it might be like literally one serving, and I'll take a whiff, taste, mid-taste, aftertaste, and kind of just study it from that culinary artistic point of view.
I like that name, culinary drinker.
Yeah, because like a social drink. Like you've ever seen me at these shows drinking?
Nah.
And I'm not like much of a drinker anyway. And I've always said to people, you wouldn't see me in public drunk, because that's idiot behavior. It's not a good look.
Yeah. You've kept it together pretty well throughout your life, like being like responsible, professional, all that.
I try. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a wild side to it and stuff, but I try. But it's good that you get it out of your system now. We all run into these people in middle-aged. They start getting tattoos and rowdying up, and then they start having problems in their
really
marriage.
Late, yeah.
Nah. We did it all.
What are some daily rituals for you? When you're not working, like if you're not doing a pod, I think what's like a day in life for?
Besides working, of course I love working out. I'm a little older now, so a little more homebody stuff, but of course love working out. I binge out on YouTube music videos. Lately I've been getting into hosts, just consistently reading a lot of biographies. Fucking Roger Murray biography, Max Cavalera, Scotty Ian, You God, like all, I've been just eating
That's
up
cool.
biographies. So right now I'm just
Read the
before
Stigma one yet? Stigma book?
No, I got to get that.
It's really fun.
I need to get Ray Capo's bio. I need to get Vic DeCara's bio. And then I'm just finishing up Gary Holt from Exodus.
Oh, nice. He's awesome.
Yeah, I just hit the last page. That one I nursed, because that's like a 2-sitting reading. I had to just be very sparing with that, man. Just like a chapter every now and then.
Yeah.
And the other thing I really get into, also people don't know, and I don't have much time for room. I'm really, really into freshwater aquatics, man. Like setting up a fish tank with like fucking
What?
plants.
Nice.
Yeah, man, I build these ecosystems and it's
What?
yeah. I'm really into that. It's very
Wow.
soothing
That is
and
amazing.
stuff like
Interesting
that.
hobby.
Yeah, that's been something I've been into it since 11. You know, I drove my mom nuts. You know, like I remember one time I had like in my bedroom a tank with gerbils, a tank with turtles, a tank with tadpoles, a tank with goldfish, one with tropical fish, one with baby snakes. Like it, and I had a cat. It drove her fucking nuts.
Wow.
But I was like a little nerd like that. You know, I loved it. Still am.
So you have fish at your house? You have a bunch of fish?
Right now, the one that I had, it died on me, but I'm going to get a new one. So I just kept it like a shrimp tank with plants and like beautiful plants, you know.
So you put it all together like aquarium and thing?
Yeah.
Wow,
I love
man.
that stuff, man. It's very soothing. And I just don't have a lot of room for it. Yeah, I got a good hand with that, man. Yeah.
That is
aquatic
incredible.
animals. Man. Yeah.
That's my
Fascinating.
favorite takeaway from this episode.
Yeah,
too.
what else? Yeah, that's something my people don't know, and a lot of people would. What else? They
Are you
probably-
listening to music when you put it together? Like some like classic? I can see with some classical.
I hear like
drinking some
classical,
wine.
No,
earthy world music.
No,
maybe?
actually, no. I just do it in silence. I like
Oh,
silence
damn.
too. Yeah, I like a lot of silence. I don't get a lot of alone time because I live with my girl now. You know, I only get a few hours a week. So during those times, I just sit at home and binge out on videos or something.
And then what is your current job right now? It's like a 9 to 5 normal job?
Yeah, 9 to 5 normal job. Yeah, you know.
What kind of stuff? Same kind of stuff?
So it's a credit based. Yeah. You
Okay.
know, and it's that's what I do now. Yeah. And
Did you ever want to be married, have kids?
I did, but after my first marriage, I thought maybe I'll give it another go with kids, and I stayed single for a long time. And
How many years were you married for?
like 8.
Okay.
And then when I stayed single, I probably stayed single for a little bit long. It was just like, I had, that marriage ended, and then, my time with hanging out with like, my circle of friends ended.
Yeah.
Just kind of start over, and the divorce. It was, I'm glad it in hindsight. I'm glad it happened. It was for the better, but I took it badly, and I think maybe it was more my ego. Like maybe I was just so bummed out that I didn't want to be a statistic,
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
But I loved my in-laws too, and all that. But when you're in a marriage, you kind of plan your future out. So that was kind of taken away. But I needed that. Like I needed that to happen. I needed to break away from the circle I was hanging out. I just needed to
Yep.
I needed to clean myself up. So there was a time a little bit after that divorce that. Yes, I did a little bit of a disappearing act. I talked to
Yeah.
Loki a little bit.
Yeah.
It was like one of those guys I talked to, but I needed to do that and just rebuild myself, like and it was good. I needed to.
Was it hard to disappear? Like just
a little bit, but it wasn't too hard either because it was also we're in times where people don't hang out as much either.
true.
Everyone's older, and you can go a long time without hanging out and not seeing each other. And it's kind of normal these days.
It's true.
You know?
Texting and stuff. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that bums me out to the texting part because I like a good phone call, man. And
Nobody does that no more.
sometimes I've called you guys. You guys don't answer. I like a good phone call. Like a good.
We're gonna start
chat.
doing phone calls and frankly moving on.
But I like a good chat. But sometimes like you and
I like-
we've texted for hours. We did that.
Yeah.
So that's good too. But a good phone call is that's old school.
I love that.
You know.
Have you ever done therapy before?
No, but I no, I don't know if I ever felt that I needed it. Sometimes just talking about it with your buddy just seems to just be a release. Just
True.
just saying it, or sometimes I think if you even write it, like
Write something
like I had written
like journaling and stuff.
like I'd written something to my ex one time, and I don't know why I did it, but I did it, and everything went away after that. It was just an email. Everything went away
Just
after
send
that.
it out. Yeah, get off your fucking
Everything went
chest.
away after that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just everything went away after that. So I think that's good. I think maybe working out
Nice release.
becomes it's a therapy
Therapeutic.
without knowing it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
It's like come for the physical health, stay for the mental health.
Yeah. So I think I'm pretty well rounded. I don't think anyone's ever wondered if I need meds or anything.
No.
You ever run into somebody every now and then, you're just like, this is a little off, man.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever given.
You seem like you've
those
always
signs.
been comfortable in your own skin.
I'm pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I have a bit of a hot temper and a bit of a dark side. I try to control those things, and those things. Yeah, I do struggle with those, but those are things those are demons.
You're working on your whole life.
Yes, temper and just just very dark side, dark way of looking at things. It can be healthy. You don't want to look at everything as happy. You got to look at it from both sides too. But I don't know, therapy is a good thing. But no, I've not had to have needed even the stuff that I went through as a kid. With my father and all that. I think
hardcore got it out.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Crazy, man.
I think I was lucky enough in life to have little things come into my life, and maybe that's just universe, God, Krishna, anybody looking out.
Yeah.
Just hardcore coming into my life. Krishna consciousness coming into my life. The kind of friendships
it saved you.
Yeah, these are valuable things, man.
Yeah.
Like this, what we have right here, us going back. People don't have this.
No, they
Not
don't.
everyone have this.
No.
It's priceless.
It's like people who it's like we're like the high school buddies we never had. Like, cause I didn't have a lot of friends in high school, but we found hardcore, and now it's like we've been together since high school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are you an optimist or pessimist?
Realist.
Okay.
Yeah.
My wife says that too.
Yeah. I never understood this optimistic thinking. I don't know if people, take. I never understood it. I thought, I think realist is more for me, maybe it just depends on how your mind is wired. But it's the realist. So like when things are really bad for me, yes, I'm fucking livid. I'm pissed. But for me, that's a positive because if I'm livid and I'm pissed, it means I don't like the situation, and because I don't like the situation, I have to make a change to change it.
True.
So that's to me, I say that to myself. People try to tell me I'll lighten up positive, but I say to myself, as long as I'm pissed off, I know I'm in the right place because it means I'm not complacent. That's my outlook. Because
it's a great way to say it.
Because some people, I've met people, they're just out in the dumps and they're just all positive. I'm just like, dude, are you fucking stupid, man? Like, I'm serious. I don't know if that's negative or that's just the way I think. But yeah.
Okay, this is a question for both you guys. This is the first. Age of quarrel or best wishes?
Oh, age of quarrel, man.
Best wishes.
Wow. Okay.
Age of quarrel to me, it is.
But it's hard to say.
Exists as purely as a New York hardcore album.
Okay.
Like if you wanted to play what is New York hardcore, play a Age of quarrel. It's not metal. It's not punk rock. It's just something very, very unique.
Best wishes, yeah. My first hardcore show ever was basically the pre-record release for Best Wishes.
Okay.
I don't know if you were at that show. It was at the Old Ritz in 1988, Christmas 1988.
Maybe, yeah.
It was opening up was Wargasm, Hades, Voivod, supporting Dimension Hatros, and Cro-Mags. And okay, this particular show, do you remember I think it's Another Planet. They released the Age of Quarrel Best Wishes double CD, and when you open up the gatefold, there's that photo of the Cro-Mags with the big Best Wishes backdrop. Mm-hmm. That was the show, man.
Okay,
that was my first hardcore show, and I remember prior to that day, besides one skinhead kid that I knew in school, I never saw people in flight jackets, combat boots, bald heads, and all these kids that I saw. I noticed too. They were like minority kids. They were from like inner cities. Like you could tell they were from like Bronx and Brooklyn. It was probably like some of these guys like the BYB, Saab Minus, like those guys.
Sunset Skins.
They were all like minorities. And I was like, wow, this is different because the metal was like, it was diverse, but this is like more inner city.
Yeah.
And I was kind of vibing off of that too because I was coming from that broken home in Jackson Heights too, but I was also a metalhead. Yeah. And then the Cro-Mags came out, and then Paris had long hair, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, when you think like this because you're a metalhead, there's like the hair was an identity back then.
For sure.
And I was like, this guy's playing leads too. And they opened up with fucking Apocalypse Now, which is like a 7-minute song. And I was like blown. I was like, dude, the last time I heard they were playing 2-minute songs, I was like, whoa, guitar solos. And so that album really did it for me.
Damn.
So Toby, we got to ask you the same question.
Age of Quarrel. Okay, Born to Expire or Best Wishes? Leeway.
Or you mean Desperate Measures?
Desperate Measures, I'm sorry. It's a hard one, too.
Desperate Measures. Because the one song on that album makes it for me.
Which one?
The future ain't what it used to be.
Is that the one?
It's the last 7 minutes epic on that song.
Okay.
Wow.
You a big Leeway fan, Adam?
They kind of shot past me. Which one had the Kingpin on it?
Desperate
Desperate
Measures.
Measures.
That one.
Okay.
That's a good record.
I was good friends with those guys too, man. Good friendship. AJ was like a mentor. He produced my first demo.
Another
first
incredible
7-inch.
guitar player too, man.
Yeah.
Yes,
Great riffer.
yes.
Yeah.
Great right hand.
He's better. I think he's better at rock and stuff than hardcore. He's a really good rock player.
I know that.
But yeah, he produced the Show of Force demo, the Ocean of Mercy 7-inch, the Crown of Thorns EP.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a big mentor. Like he helped us a lot, man. And
That's cool.
I heard he did that for a lot of like young bands in Queens.
Yeah, he was a cool guy. He he hooked us up with because he was with Chris Williamson's Show of Force's last show ever. It was the Super Bowl of hardcore.
Damn.
That was a life-changing show from that In Effect videotape.
Yeah.
You right? So
I'm in that. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I was on that bill.
1990.
Yeah, 91.
91.
I was on that bill. I was the second band on that bill.
Really?
It was first to Fit of Anger, then Show of Force, then SFA, Antidote, Super Touch. Like
They were all in
Rest
that
in
one show.
Pieces.
The 4 bins got put in the VHS. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It was a Super Bowl of hardcore, right, with Chris Williamson when he was still doing it. I remember there was some draft that was supposed to come up for Desert Storm in '91. With George Bush Sr. And I was like, I don't care what happens, but I need to play this show first.
Yeah. Get drafted.
But that show changed my life. That show really told me.
It was an incredible show.
That's what you want to do as a musician.
Show.
Yeah.
Break Down the Walls or Win in This Alone.
Win in This Alone.
Love that record too, man.
Okay, so You Did Today. I got into them with during the Revelation comp.
Great.
And I love those 2 recordings. And then I went out and bought Break Down the Walls. I didn't really get into too much. Compared to what I was listening to, it was very more on the primitive side, right? And I decided to buy We're Not in This Alone. And the recording is not a good recording. It's just very muddy. Mm-hmm. So I didn't. So my favorite Youth of the Today recording, the self-titled last 7-inch.
Oh, Disengaged.
That's fucking awesome.
Modern Love Story.
Yeah. The 2 albums I mentioned are good, but the recordings weren't as good. I get it. I understand it, but at that time I was listening to shit like Testament, with this.
Yeah.
What do you think about Ray Purcell and a Drum Machine?
I like that EP.
That's a good.
It was a good EP.
That's a good EP.
That's a good EP, man.
Yeah. Fame.
It's just
Fame
a good
and Broken
listen.
Glass.
It's just a good listen.
Yeah.
It's just
I
a
agree.
good listen.
How about Beyond Planet Earth or Mantra?
Come on, some Mantra. I'm on the record.
Mantra's a better record.
Masterpiece, Mantra, man.
But Beyond Planet Earth.
For you, because
Well, no, not just because of me, but Beyond Planet Earth. If you listen to it, the musicianship is better.
Yeah.
Okay.
We grew as musicians. I liked the diversity and the mentality going into that record, but I would call that a draw, man, because just Mantra was very spontaneous and that awesome variety of genres. Yeah. That was done by spontaneity, and it was special.
And Tom Source really made every record that he did sound fantastic. Everybody sounds great on all those records.
Yeah.
He had a special ear, man. Yeah.
Damn. Do you have any more notes? Your notes we didn't say?
Go over whatever things.
This might not be for the pod, but I'm curious. Who are the 5 biggest influences?
Oh, that's on the pod. That's top 5, isn't it?
Who are the 5 bass influences?
Well, all right. So not in any order particularly, but yes. I'm going to put Geezer Butler at the top.
Where he belongs, I think, in just about everybody's
none of these people I named would exist without him. So Geezer Butler.
Sick.
Harley Flanagan. If you hear my bass playing, you're going to hear Harley Flanagan. Especially in the right hand. This guy is just... I can't gush enough about fucking Harley Flanagan's... this guy's bass playing his song. Nobody... You can't play it like him, but I feel like out of all the Cro-Mags bass players that John worked with, my picking is most similar. He even mentioned that a little bit. That's
it's awesome.
That huge influence. Harley Flanagan, all right? So Geezer Butler, Harley Flanagan, Eddie Jackson from Queensryche, incredible. Just incredible. Tony Bono, Into Another, just beautiful bass lines. That's just beautiful, man. And then Cliff Burton. Cliff Burton,
that's a good
solid
5, dude.
He's not like an influence because he's so unique. I can't play like him. It's impossible to emulate him. But if I play with my fingers, maybe I will try to emulate that meaty tone that he has on Master Puppets. He's just an incredible bass player. I have to put him in the list. So those 5.
What about top 5 hip hop. You a hip hop person too?
Hip hop. Jizza Genius. Okay, Jizza Genius. I mean, anything from Wu-Tang. I mean, I love the first Sons of Man record.
Wow.
So, but let's see groups all time. That's a hard one. Jizza Genius or any of the Wu-Tang stuff. Public Enemy, of course. Like,
hell yeah.
Like they're just so fucking incredible. Albums. You know, like. Look, some people probably not expect me to listen to Diggable Planets.
I love Diggable
Yeah,
Planets.
they're
Dude.
awesome.
That's sick.
I
love that randomness.
That fucking Guru first Jazzmatazz album is fucking
Incredible,
incredible.
dude. You Gangstar fan?
Yeah. The first 2 Jeru albums.
Yes.
Dude.
Sunsets and what's yeah.
Yeah.
Great,
The
dude.
Sun Rises in the East.
Yeah, dude.
The Brand Nubian had great stuff.
Incredible. One for all,
Yeah.
dude.
So yeah, man, I'm definitely
That's cool.
Definitely, and you, like I was texting Pop back in the day, you were dressed in like a hip hopper before all the other hardcore kids, like you were wearing gold teeth back in the 90s.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
92,
Everyone was like, yeah, Toby thinks he's black. Like you were in, because you were like big into Mobb Deep and stuff back in those
Love
days.
hip hop, dude. Yeah, dude. We all loved hip hop. That was the thing about living in New York. It all meshed together, kind of, right?
Well, speaking of that, do you remember that crazy show at the Marquee? Fucking Sycamore with BDP and Heather B.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, sob. It
was a crazy show. Heather B. Yeah.
We were throwing down. Yeah. Did somebody got stabbed at that show,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, Minus did.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's right.
He survived,
that's
so
right.
we can shout out Minus. I have the flyers, so I have it framed in there.
That's right. That's right.
BDP,
Minus.
Heather B. Boogie Down Productions, dude. That was incredible. Just the KRS One, the first Sick of It All, then the Onyx shit with Bio. I loved how that shit all meshed together.
Again. They're taking it
they're
back
bringing
out.
it back. Judgment Night's coming back with Biohazard Onyx tour this year.
But here's the thing: what I don't understand, I don't remember. I think I was 18 at the time. We're all broke and we don't have jobs. We didn't buy tickets for that show, and we were not friends with Sick of It All or KRS One. I don't know how we even got into the show. We just snuck into these shows, man.
Yeah, back then.
We just snuck into
You
all
could
these.
definitely sneak into CB's for sure, but there's other spots too.
Well, CB's, look, Brendan from SFA was the guy watching those. He knew those dots on our hands where we drew those with the markers. He knew they were fake, but he was a hardcore kid. He let us in.
Yeah, Lou from Sick of It All, his girlfriend at the time, worked at the Ritz, so she got us on all the shows at the Ritz, dude. It was so awesome, man.
We never paid for shows, man.
Crazy. Check your notes. What you got in your notes? I'm curious about your notes, man.
I mean, we got all kinds of stuff, man.
So for the listeners to the podcast, this is the first podcast that Franklin's ever done. So thank you for being here. This is amazing. I'm coming up with you guys, both you guys on a Sunday. But Franklin is so amazing. He brought organized notes from 1982 till now.
Yeah, I had to remember this stuff.
It's incredible, man. But the one thing I noticed on there that we all worked at Rover at some point in the mailroom. I worked there with Todd Friend originally. I don't know what year you guys worked there.
So me and Adam, we worked right when I joined Shelter. So we were still living in the Temple, and we were in the band, so we couldn't be on that book, the book selling, San Catan program, that all the other devotees, we were just busy with the band and stuff. And so they just said, well, instead of doing nothing and we're not touring, we're not rehearsing until next month or so, why don't you, maybe you guys can just get a job or do something. So I think Howie Abrams just hooked us a job at Roadrunner mailroom office.
Where we may have stolen CDs and sold them at Generation Records.
This was awesome too, though. The job that me and Adam were doing, we were mailing out Shelter CDs to the radio stations.
Sending our own CDs out.
It. Are you serious?
Yeah, so it sucked because the guy who's running the mailroom, I have a hunch.
Kevin.
Yeah, I have a hunch he wanted to maybe be
I remember Kevin.
Yeah, he was like kind of like a little bitter vibe, like watching us promote ours because we were the hottest thing on that label at the time because we were new. And there was one guy that was working there. It's like an Italian dude with brown curly hair, and I saw him, and I just looked at him, and then the next day I come in and I, his name is Anthony. I'm like, oh my God. And he was like, fuck, this guy recognized. I'm like, yo, Anthony Bramante from Nuclear Assault. No way. I was like, dude, man.
So you were fanboying on him at the work?
I'm like, dude, like, Nuclear Assault, like, game over. Like, you don't understand that fucking album. And he's like, fuck. And he's like working in the mailroom, fucking mailing our Shelter CDs.
That mailroom also had the bass player for Candiria was in that mailroom. 40% of Fahrenheit 451 were in that mailroom.
Really?
Yeah, that mailroom was fun.
But
man. It was all
fun.
just band dudes.
What year would that be? Like early 90s?
It was summer of 95.
95, yeah.
Damn.
Me and Adam worked there for like a month and a half, and after that we quit and we just
went on the road, baby. 13 weeks straight, living in Hare Krishna temples and playing hardcore shows.
Yeah, I worked at Concrete Marketing with Pete and Lou too. We worked like Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Temple of the Dog, all that shit.
I heard about that. Yeah.
And then I worked with Ezec and Sick of It Out, and Pete Sick of It Out, and Al, we worked at the construction site. We built the sound factory on 50-something Street.
I heard about that.
Yeah, it was crazy. We found asbestos, and Ezec clocked us all out. So we quit, and we all quit the same day.
Sick of It Out.
Sick of It Out, dude. Yeah.
$3 Steve.
$3 Steve.
Remember him?
Dude, the nicknames are crazy. You never had a nickname, did you?
No,
it's always been your name.
Or the
Same with
tag,
Adam,
Hydro.
too. Adam had Hydro, but it's crazy. We have adult friends that still we just know them by their nickname and not the government name.
Right.
And they're in their 50s still.
Like Ezec had a lot of names. Like I think
Ezec.
also they used to call him Sleestack.
Sleestack too. But the original is a Hebrew hammer.
Remember he used to carry the mallet with the rubber mallet with the Ezec face on one side and the Star of David on the other.
Bro. Shout out to Lord Ezec, man. We love you, Ezec, man.
What a fucking great old friend that guy is.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
You like your history with him is incredible, man.
Yes, he was like basically the first my first first time we ever did a CD together and recorded. That was with him.
Dude.
Yeah. Him and I, we had some Cro-Mag Leeway dreams that turned into Crown of Thorns.
It's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
And so all the listeners, Crown of Thorns, man. Incredible.
Yeah, and Ezec, if you're hearing this, man, congrats on the new baby, man. I just found out today. Congrats.
Love you, Lord.
Congrats.
And we hit every one of your notes. I'm looking through all your notes. We hit every single one. You were so on point, dude.
Yeah. I wanted to make sure.
Your first podcast, we popped your cherry today.
Yeah. Make sure,
Hopefully there'll be more.
There's a lot more stories if you ask, but this is cool. Now it's preserved. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I know I don't.
We'll do a part 2 someday.
Because I don't go out and do this often. These
I know,
are stories
man.
from a different perspective.
But people are going to be stoked to hear your story, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I appreciate you being here and telling your story. Go pee. We take a photo. Thank you, Adam Blake. Thank you, Franklin. You can't find Franklin on any social media. You can't reach out to him anywhere.
But
he's completely off the grid.
But you'll run into me every now and then at a show.
Yeah, but you can listen to his music. Now you know the history of Franklin on this podcast and all the records he's been on, the bands he's been in. You can go on YouTube, find videos. You can go on ChatGPT, whatever your heart desires. Shout out to Mike DeJean, too, is a big part of your come up, too.
Oh, definitely, man.
Love Mike DeJean. Is still out here killing it, tour managing Agnostic Front, playing with Crown of Thorns, producing a bunch of bands. Yeah, man.
Yeah, everyone I played with, man, they all want some kind of good story with it.
And you're looking good. You look young. You look great. You got a good head of hair. You're fucking chilling. The great shape, you know?
Trying. All right.
Thanks for being here, Franklin.
Hey, man, it was a pleasure.
This is awesome. Peace.
Peace.
I always ask my guests if they have any regrets. I personally don't have any regrets. Even when it comes to my tattoos, I have the silliest tattoos. Even my ET on my leg, it's still a childhood memory for me, and I love it. I've had tattoos on top of tattoos strictly because I wanted more tattoos. I started getting tattoos when I was 18. I'm 52 now, and I can't stop. I've had laser treatment before on something on my arm. It's 4 tattoos on top of each other. And that experience at that place was pretty fast. It was pretty cold. It was in and out, swiped the credit card. Don't really tell me much. Didn't give me much details or anything was going to happen. So I never went back. So as of most recently, I'm so lucky enough to have had 2 sessions at Removery Tattoo Removal. My tattoo on my arm looks like a big black blob. Is now super light. I've had 2 sessions. I have a long road ahead of me. None of this stuff happens overnight. You cannot take a tattoo up in one sitting. You have to be patient. And it's painful. They ice you up. It's super fast. To me, it felt like a bunch of rubber bands. But what's more painful than that is looking at something on your body that you think you're stuck with for the rest of your life. That sucks. But now for me, I'm really happy I started this journey. I'm slowly going to get this tattoo removed. I never thought in a million years to have any kind of real estate on my arm. I don't even know what I want, but it's exciting. I'm so honored to announce that One Life, One Chance podcast is now with Removery. Call 866-934-4570 or go to removery.com. Use TobyH20 and get $100 off your first session. One of the most experienced tattoo removal companies in the world. Removery has 155 locations and 1.8 million treatments. US, Canada, and Australia. State-of-the-art peak-away laser technology, cryo technology to reduce any discomfort. This is so exciting for me because all I do in these podcasts is talk about tattoos. From day one, if you've been listening to this podcast, talk about tattoos, talk about getting removed, talk about getting covered up. So this is such a perfect fit for me. Definitely check out One Life, One Chance podcast, episode 281. I have Carmen Brody, Mike McTurnan, and Dustin Ortle from Removery. And this is over 2-hour conversation. People had submitted questions. It's an incredible conversation breaking down the do's, the don'ts, the fears, process, the results, everything you could imagine about getting a tattoo removed. It's all in this podcast. It's an incredible episode. I appreciate them all coming out for it. So check that out if you want to learn more about Removery and what it's like to get a tattoo removed. Once again, go to removeyou.com or call 866-934-4570. Use my code TobyH20 and get $100 off. These guys are located everywhere. Try it out. I have a lot of friends who are sober, a lot of friends who are straight edge. A lot of my friends are going through it. I know struggling with substance abuse and alcoholism can be really, really hard, especially knowing who to turn to. It can be really, really daunting. I'm here to say that a good friend of mine and his friend started this incredible treatment center called Refine Recovery. They gave me a phone number, 855-516-3332. You can text, you can call them. It's totally confidential. It's safe. There'll be somebody on the other line to help you out, a compassionate human being to talk to help you navigate the process, the insurance treatments. They accept most of private insurances. You can go refinerecovery.com, Refine Recovery Instagram. I know it's hard, but reach out to somebody, man. People care about you. People love you. People want you to be here for a long time. People love you in their lives. If you're going through it, make this phone call. It's totally private. I know people DM me all the time about going through it and going through sobriety and trying to get straight and trying to take care of themselves, and the struggle is totally real. And Refine Recovery is the definitely move. Reach out to them, 855-516-3332, or text them, 855-516-3332. You can call or text this number anytime, 855-516-3332. You know the drill. This number is here for you to call. As we get older, we start paying attention to what we put in our bodies. I personally have been listening to my body since I was 18 when I went vegan. I've always been focused on my health. It's super important, mental and physical health. But it's really important for people who are just starting to get more healthy and trying to step up their life. Doing your homework, reading the labels, researching and verifying everything that's quality. It's part of the game these days. That's why I started drinking AG1s. I'm so proud to have them as a sponsor of my podcast. AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement that delivers daily nutrients and gut support and is backed by multiple research studies. You can trust what you're putting into your body. We're all so busy these days, so just throw a pack of AG1 in the morning into a cup of water and shake it up and drink it. I love the way it tastes. I do it every single morning. It's part of my routine. I bring the packets on tour. It's an incredible life changer for me. Many supplements only reference research from ingredients in their product, but I trust AG1 in my daily routine because it's constantly putting the formula to the test. It's backed by multiple research studies. In one of those research studies, AG1 was shown to have double the amount of healthy bacteria in the gut, which is super important because these help digestion in the immune system and immune health. And these bacteria are known to help with digestion as well, gas and bloating, which I freaking need. And it also promotes regular bowel movements, what I can attest to. In another research study, 97% participants felt more energy after 30 days, and 91% of the participants noticed that they needed less coffee after 60 days. I quit coffee like 5 months ago. I know I'm good on that. But AG1 is packed with a variety of nutrient-dense ingredients and is the perfect complement to my healthy diet. I drink it because I know it's going to work, and it gives me a peace of mind covering all my nutrition bases for the day. In fact, I trust it so much, that's why I'm spreading word about it. That's why it sponsors my podcast. Thanks to Angie Huberman for turning me on to AG1s, connecting me with them, and now they're part of my podcast. It's so easy and satisfying to start your day with AG1s. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of the vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your purchase at drinkag1.com/OLLC. That's drinkag1.com/OLLC. It's never been a better time to focus on your health and wellness and get back on track, man. Take control of your daily health. Health is wealth.